Madness Podcast! The best of the underground! Make madness your ritual!
Oh, shit. What's happening, folks? It is Friday. You know what that means. Ritual Madness Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Do me a favor. Check out Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective, 3500 Minnehaha Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 612-353-4755. lowbrowsaints@gmail.com. Hours Tuesday and through Saturday, 12 to 7. Give them a shout. Jason and the cats over there slinging ink. Beautiful people doing beautiful things. Do me a favor, check out the Shred Den. Hours Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. 9100 85th Avenue North, Suite 100, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Give them a call, 763-350-2191. They are on Facebook, YouTube. They got, what do you got, some playthroughs? You got all kinds of shit over there, don't you, Rob? What's going on?
All kinds of stuff, yep.
Yeah.
Whatever Matt McGee puts up.
Yeah. Instagram, they got some TikToks. www.theshredden.net. Go get some pointy guitars. You got a bunch of cool pointy guitars over there right now, don't you?
Just got a new shipment in for BC Rich. Come check them out.
Nice, very cool. We are live at the Shred Den Studios. We got the man right there, right on camera, Mr. Rob. How's it going, buddy?
Doing well on a Friday night. It's beautiful weather. I think we finally made it over the hump, hopefully, for the spring and summer.
Right, hopefully, man.
Yeah.
It's supposed to drop down a little bit tonight, but then it's supposed to be nice tomorrow, right?
Yep.
And
Going to the Twins game tomorrow, 1 o'clock with the youngin', so it'll be a good day.
Hell yeah. We got the guys from Zymurgy. How do you say it? I want to make sure that I say it properly.
Zymurgy.
All right, awesome. We got the guys from Zymurgy here. What's going on, fellas? How's it going? Welcome.
Dude, we're happy to be here. This is awesome.
Hey, thanks,
we're excited.
Man. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, man. It's very cool to have you guys. Now, you guys have been doing some stuff at the brewery. How long has Zymurgy been doing the brewing stuff?
We opened in December 1st, 2018.
Nice.
We started doing death metal shortly after that. Death
Yeah.
metal for 6 years now.
Yeah. So pretty much, we hooked up doing the metal stuff probably 6 months after they opened. So
Yeah.
wild. Just kind of a weird experience. And I didn't know John for more than about 8 seconds before he opened. So
Really?
this has turned into a weird thing. Yeah.
So were you just up at the bar, belly up at the bar after you opened and said, hey, man, you want to do some metal shows?
So honestly, the story is we were kind of talking off mic earlier before we got here about it, because it's just such a funny thing. Is I was learning, I was getting to know John. At the time, I was the director of downtown Menomonie, so I was a tourism person for the downtown. Zymurgy sits in the downtown.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I was sitting at the bar with him and a fellow friend of ours, and John was talking about his birthday coming up in July, and it was like mid-spring. And he knew I liked metal at this point, and he was like, "Yeah, it'd be funny if we did like a death metal show for my birthday." And I, for a second, was like, "We should do a death metal show for your birthday. It'd be super fun. Let's do it." And then we kind of bullshitted for a while and didn't really think of it. And then 2 weeks later, I'm sitting on my computer and my Facebook Messenger pops up, and it's John. Were you serious about the death metal show idea? And I was like, I mean, if you're into it, I'll figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. And he goes, how about this? I'll figure out sound. You get me bands. And I was like, okay, I'm plugged enough in. And John will get into the fact that he doesn't really listen to this music besides when we have shows.
Now, that was going to be one of my
That was
questions
the big
because you guys had just released a beer today, and it was it was a thing that now just looking at the logo, looking it up on Facebook and stuff like that, I was like, this does not look like the logo that I see all the time. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. They do have a business to run. It can't be death metal all the time. It's like not every place wants to be metal all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I didn't open a venue. I opened a brewery.
right, exactly. So I was looking at that and then seeing the video that you guys dropped today about the release of the beer today, and the two names. It was like Fish and
Dead.
And Grateful Dead.
And we have another.
And then you're like,
Ramblin' Roast. We have 2 Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And a Fish. Yeah.
Well, then you're like, and this one was for casket robbery. So I'm like, where? You know what I mean? It's like
they're my favorite band to play.
Yeah.
Zymurgy. And was that the first band?
Yeah, they were on the first show.
Yeah.
Yep. And they've played a few times. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we went with that. Yeah.
We will try that beer.
Yeah, we'll drink it here off.
I
Yeah.
brought some beer. I brought some root beers.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much what happened was so once we did that, Rob coincidentally sitting at this table is one of the people I messaged because not to fluff his feathers, so I'll just look at you, Greg. So I've been going, I'm 36, so I've been going to metal shows in the city since I was 18 when I could. And the only local band that I ever cared to know was Glutton for Punishment.
Oh, nice.
I liked them. And I'd seen them, and that was, when you're 18, you don't realize local bands open shows, right?
Right.
So I remember going to a few shows and like seeing locals and not really even understanding it because I was like, oh, there's other bands here. Like, why would they be, because you're learning all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember me and a good buddy of mine still, who was at all of our shows at Zymurgy, we saw Glutton. Oh, God, I couldn't even tell you what it was for. It was, 15, 20 years ago. And we were like, oh, this band's cool. We like this. We like death metal. This band's good. So we'd seen them a couple other times on random opening slots on big tours. And so I was like, that's the only band I really know. So I'll message them first. And then it just kind of like, I started listening to like local Wisconsin, Minnesota bands, and I already knew some of them. And I'm like, I'm just going to shoot my shot and send some messages around, see who'll take a flyer on a brewery that's never done this before. And I straight up, Rob might remember, but I told everyone, I'm like, this is a one and done. Just come and have some fun. We'll pay you some money and drink some beers and let's have a party and let's go with it. So there was no intention that this was anything but a birthday party for John.
Yeah.
Let's have a good time, get 5, 6, I think we had 5 bands, and drink beer and have a party.
So now that you said that, John, okay, so you got this death metal show. Well, now, do you remember all the bands that were on it?
I do. So Reaping as Modia was
yep.
the headliner.
Okay.
Casket Robbery, Glutton,
Jesus.
Coffin Rot, right?
Right.
But I think it might have been Coffin Rot even at the time.
It was time, yep.
Oh,
And then
changing
the
it.
opening band, I don't know if they did much, but it was Baraska. Do you remember them?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know how much they ever did, but they were
They from here?
Yeah,
Huh.
they're Minnesota. I think they did one CD, maybe. I don't know whatever happened, but yeah, those were the 5 on the first show.
Dude, that's
I don't even know how
Coffin Rod had the coffin-shaped merch.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like,
Yep.
all right,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
death metal merch.
Will Marvell.
Dude, that's so
Yeah.
sick that he has like this ridiculous lineup for your birthday show, and you're like, I'm not really into that.
Oh, no, not my world.
Yeah,
not my
yeah,
world.
yeah.
at all. Yeah.
So how was that, dude? Was that like?
I mean, because we've been doing it for 6 years now.
Yeah.
So I've seen Fish like 50 times.
Yeah.
I'm into that world, but we've hosted a lot of bluegrass and
Yeah.
folk music
Yeah.
like over the last 6.5 years.
Sure.
So it was just the introduction to like the metal community, I guess,
Yeah.
which is wild. I don't know. Like the music live is one thing, and then the fans are another thing.
Yeah.
The merch is another thing.
Yeah.
And then just kind of not realizing that I'm a venue now. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is taking care of sound.
Yeah.
And treating bands right, or whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
So it was probably a shock.
Now,
It was
now,
a
and I
lot
have
of
to say this too, man, from right off the bat. Okay. Now, I have yet to come to the brewing spot. I've yet to be there, but I've seen so many of my friends play there, and I have to say right off the bat, that was one of the things that they all said. Those guys fucking take care of you, and I have to say, to come out of the box doing that is a huge thing. I was talking about it earlier today with someone. And that just really sticks out for me for being in bands for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? When you go to a place and you're taken care of, and it's an open, fun atmosphere, you know. And everybody said, "Dude, they always got great beer, always having a good time." You know, everybody gets hotels, they crash out, they have a good time.
Yeah, as somebody that's played there, I
Fantastic.
can say. I mean, it's always dealing with Dustyn.
Yeah,
Getting the show set up and all that, and then of course the staff at the brewery. It's as a musicians that's played there a couple times. It's one of the more fun venues to play because of the atmosphere and the staff and the promoter there, right?
Yeah.
Those are all things that you look for because we've all played gigs, Greg, where you're playing a shitty venue, the staff sucks.
yeah,
You got to chase down the promoter for your money,
yeah.
and their atmosphere and the way they run their stuff. It makes it fun. It's a show that you look forward to going to,
Right.
and having a good time with everybody there. So you guys do a great job at that. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
question.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
appreciate
That's huge praise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Coming from the scene, you know what I mean? And dude, they had Mr. Heavies was out there back in the day. That was a spot that I had played
Wow, yeah.
before.
And
Yeah, I've
You know
heard
what I mean?
Stories about heavies.
But it was a
Yeah.
big deal for us at that
It
point
was.
for the scene here. If you got a gig over at Heavies, it was so much fun because it was just a mixture. You know, you got
Yeah.
the college crowd upstairs and you got metal going on, and it somehow worked. I have no idea, but there were some good shows. We partied hard.
Yeah, well, and John and I were talking about too that one of the big reasons why I kind of went for the metal thing too is because when House of Rock and Eau Claire went down,
Yeah.
Yep.
that was a
Yeah, yeah.
huge void.
Huge
And
void.
because that was the pull, right?
Yeah.
You went to House of
Yep.
Rock. I mean, the national acts they got in there at that
Yeah.
small place is unreal.
Yeah.
The things I saw Cannibal Corpse in there.
Right.
That room is like smaller than Zymurgy.
Yeah.
Like it's so tiny in there.
Yeah.
So I remember telling him that too. I was like, I used to go here and now it's gone. Like everybody's bar in Chippewa Falls does an okay job,
Right.
but they're more rock.
Yeah.
They're more new metal. That's
Yeah.
what they like. Occasionally have a cool death metal show that I
Yeah.
go to
Yep.
once, twice a year, But I kind of told him, I'm like, there's a void here that I think we can fill. And between the three cities, that's 140,000 people.
Right.
And so I'm like, there's has to be enough here to just pull this off. And yeah, I don't know. It's worked so far.
So John, how is the clientele taken to some of these heavier shows as you've been doing them? I mean,
Well,
do you have a lot of regulars that come in?
So when we do shows on Saturdays,
Yeah.
it's typically a room full of families,
Uh-huh.
and then they see people in leather show up, and then we turn the room into like a death metal room. So it would be cool to do a time lapse someday. I've done it in the past, but to see the room go from family friendly from
Yeah.
noon to 4,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it turns into a death metal spot by 6.
Yeah.
Doors at 7. Like we got it down by clockwork
Yeah.
now too. So the regular, every once in a while we'll get a regular to stay too.
Yeah.
But it's a complete contrast.
Wow.
Like we'll have some students come in, we'll have families come in, we'll have beer nerds come in, but you see the metal fans come from out wherever.
I'm
Like,
just
for
picturing
death
that
metal
time lapse. You
It's
just
so
see
cool.
guys like waddling in with
Oh,
their fucking
it's-
shit,
it's
set it
exactly
down,
what
and everybody
happens.
else looks at them and they go,
Every once in a while, you're like, that's a lot of gear.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
Yeah.
we have enough space, but and every time when we do bluegrass, it's 1 or 2 bands.
yeah,
We're always doing 3, 4, or 5 bands.
Right.
So it's gear. It's a lot of gear.
yeah,
But no one, it's like, because they're the friendliest people. Like
Yeah.
death metal fans are friendly. They're awesome. So
Yeah.
it's just a contrast of people
Yeah.
going in and out at one point.
Well, and one of my favorite things, it's not even the people that go to Zymurgy. I love it when we get bands that have never, maybe a little outside of Wisconsin, Minnesota, who don't really know who we are.
Yeah.
Or maybe word of mouth. And they show up at, because we'll tell them load times like 4. The brewery's still a brewery. And I think they walk in going, what the hell is this? Like,
Oh,
what's
This is
going
not
on?
gonna be
And
cool.
I have to tell them, I'm like, guys,
We're still busy.
give us 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, because when they show up at 4, sound equipment's not even set.
Yeah.
It's like in a closet.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's no venue
Yeah.
there. And we're like, dude, we got 2.5 hours. We'll rotate this brewery into a metal venue real quick.
Yeah.
So I always see it every time a band comes from a while. They look around, they're like, oh, this is the venue. And we're like, dude, it's
WTF,
not
dude,
this.
yeah.
It's not going to look like this.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
give us sometimes we don't even have the whole stage in.
Yeah.
And we're like moving it around like 2 hours before.
So tell us how does that all work when it comes to like what type of sound system you guys running? What kind of stage? How does that all unfold?
We have a stage up always. We have like just 4 stage lights, and then we only had a very small like 12 channel mixer
Sure.
back in the day. I just invested in a bigger mixer.
Yeah.
We have 2 highs, as you would call it.
Sure.
2 main speakers.
Yep.
2 monitors, 1 double 16, which is not enough bass. And then we have another sub I've gotten. We've also acquired quite a lot of mic stands.
Okay.
Guitar
They might be
picks.
somebody
You
who's
can
I
never
don't
have
know.
enough of those
We-
anyway.
We don't know.
And we've had this equipment since we opened, and that's basically what we got, and that's like our base, and then people bring in everything else.
Gotcha,
And we've
yeah.
gone through a few different sound people, but Cole, our sound guy, has probably done 70.
He rocks. He's
He's
very good.
Yeah. But he just turned 21.
Oh, nice.
And he's been doing it for 3-4 years, so
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
he can finally drink.
And
sound.
what we always
we keep him
enjoy
at
it,
bay.
yeah.
And going
but-
back to your hospitality comment, and Rob knows because again I've dealt with Rob 2-3 times now booking him, is when I send every band the shtick like what we do, and John and I and Chelsea, his girlfriend who helps us a ton too, who's like the unsung hero of the 3-headed monster that we have. We always say, like you said, like I think people have fun when they come to Zymurgy.
Mhm.
We do too, and like once it's not fun for us, this isn't fun anymore.
Oh, I
So
totally
like
get
we
it.
focus so hard on that, which is why we care so much about that concept. But I will say, going with the sound, there's always a caveat at the end: is our sound is good, but it's not great. So the more you help us out, the better. Because again, I always tell people, it's not a metal venue.
Right.
It's just not. We do 7 metal shows a year.
Right.
We aren't here doing a venue. We're not doing a thing every weekend.
Right.
So it just we do what we can.
And when,
Now-
when
now-
we do Zymurderfest, we usually
Yeah, the big fest, we step it up for sure.
Okay.
We have
And like if we have a national touring act, we'll put the money in. But sorry, Rob.
What?
Local bands, we can only do so much.
Only
I
when
mean,
local Nate joined.
the budget's only this big.
Regional.
Regional.
That's-
All right,
that's what it
hey
is.
Rob, regional's
Regional
a better word.
Yeah, we're in Minnesota. Zymurgy's in
That's
Wisconsin.
true. That's
so
true.
we're-
Okay,
That's
you're right.
regional, dude.
That's
what I'm
true.
saying.
I'll take it.
You see, that's how I got that loophole with Nate because he was like local bands. I go, dude, you're regional now, and he just looked at me and went. You could see the sigh of relief, like yeah, okay. Now I fall into another bracket. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
All that. What did he said about the Denny's glass this morning? He said,
Oh, I didn't see
put
that.
your
I didn't see it.
put your heavy metal change in there or some shit like that. Something to put it in there.
Yep.
But so you guys will push for extra sound gear and stuff if there's a big band coming through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually the fest for sure, because we have the backing. We are backed by our local tourism, Explore Menomonie. I know we talked off mic really quick, but we are so lucky that our local tourism see value in this. It's something different because Menomonie's only a town of 16,000 people. We're northwest Wisconsin. We're 75 miles east of the Twin Cities where you're listening to us, or hour and a half from where we are right now.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much, and they see it as a cool thing, and they do draw people. They notice that they stay in hotels, they eat downtown, they drink. Metalheads love a beverage.
Yeah.
So they love it for that. And that's half the reason why we expanded the fest to possibly moving forward. Who knows if we go into 3 days, because they love that, because that means people are staying overnight.
Right.
And so that's kind of where we've been. But yeah, usually if we have the big shows, occasional touring act, we'll lean on our buddies that we know to bring in some better
Gotcha.
sound.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is what it is.
That's awesome that you have that outlet to get
We've
people up.
lucked out, I think, a lot in this. And again, I think it does help that I think people do enjoy and like us. Like I know you played Dead Soul Symphony at the beginning. They're our quote unquote house band.
Yeah.
We love them guys. They help us when we need it.
Sure.
Like if we need gear loaders, or we give them on shows, but at any moment they're willing to be like, hey, do we need to gut our room?
I can honestly only speak for one of them, and we go way back. Corey Jones and I have been friends for a very long time, and that dude is a workhorse. He always has been. You know, we know about his Hell Scared as of late, and I talked to his brother yesterday, and he was like, yeah, he's back part-time and doing all that stuff. But I did want to say about the first couple songs that we played. We did Dead Soul Symphony, Coma was the name of the song off of Sermons to the Sick, I'm sorry. And then the second song was Maniacal Force, Prisoners of the Highway, off their Blood, Guts, and Steel album, which is, I got all those. Actually, I got the Dead Soul on Bandcamp, and then the other ones I'm playing off of from iTunes. So just so you guys know, those are the ones, and you can see the cards when I'm putting them up when we're playing the songs. And check those bands out, man. Every band that we're playing tonight, we kind of did a mixture. I suggested a couple bands, and Dustyn suggested a couple bands, and then John got here and he was like, we should have played some bluegrass, which I totally would have, because I should have
done it. I'm sorry, John.
It's all good. No worries, man. So you guys were talking about just doing seven shows a year. Have you guys thought about doing more since it's going well?
So kind of where we're at is because of where we're located, right? We're a college town. So winter, December, January, Zymurgy does a bunch of cleaning, brewery style, got to do all the things. So we take a break. Summer, we've done a few shows in the summer, but we all live in the same area, right?
Right.
When it's June, July, you know what? I don't really want to be in a dingy metal venue either.
Right.
I'd rather be outside,
right,
under the sun, at a fire. So, John and Chelsea actually was the one show I ran all by myself. It was a couple summers ago, and we had this great lineup. I had like Bleed the Victim from Kansas. Great guys, awesome thrash band. I had Deterioration on that show.
Ooh.
And off the top of my head, I think Bray Road from Wisconsin was on that show.
Like those dudes too.
And there was like 5 bands, and I like really cooked this like really good lineup. And it was probably the worst attendance we had, because it was late July, and guess what? It was 78 degrees and perfect outside.
Damn.
And I was like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
In a town where we're 16,000 with kids there, we're 9,000 without. So we're really focused on spring and fall right now.
Right.
So if like you want to see Zymurgy, we're February to May, and then we're August to November.
And then it's brewery straight up.
And then and that's the other thing is like, I look at John like, I don't work there. I literally just put on metal shows. The amount of people that ask me if I work at Zymurgy, I don't. I literally am just the metal promoter, and I love doing it. So at the end of the day, they're still a brewery, and we want them to sell beer and not do metal all the time.
Right. I think the big thing is with Zymurderfest in August, you have to take it away for 2 months, and summertime is already kind of iffy. So if you take it away for a couple of months,
it makes people want it.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit. Yeah. And it's a lot of work.
Starve them up a little bit.
I always tell people,
it's a lot of work.
I always tell people, February is always one of our best shows because we're off for 3 months. And guess what? We are bored in February.
Oh, I bet.
Because it's Wisconsin, Minnesota. It's boring. It's
cold all winter.
This last February was amazing. This usually the February show is okay. This one was good.
Was
This year-
great.
this year's been
It's
great
because
so
what
far.
else are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you're what else are you gonna? You've been sitting inside for
Yeah.
3 months, so we kind of like take advantage of that a little bit too. We take advantage of the Halloween, the Zymurderfest. We time pretty well for what else is going on in the
Sure.
area. We don't want to conflict. We're very aware of conflicting with
Well,
people's stuff.
you were one of the few that actually do that. I've been trying to say that on this podcast for years. I kid you not, to pay attention to what's going on. And I think younger bands should really focus on that if you want good draw, because there's great bands like Glutton and all of the bands that are connected to this podcast in general. Like they're all out there trying to put people in the clubs. So pay attention to what's going on. You do not want to step on some of these people's feet. You know what I'm saying? You're just not, you're not going to do well.
And that's a big reason why we try to be pretty ahead of the game.
Yeah.
For sure. Like that's a thing. I know sometimes, again, our third wheel, Chelsea, John's girlfriend, which we'll reference, so I won't say that anymore, but it's Chelsea.
Shout out to Chelsea. She
She's
does a lot-
great.
she does a lot of
And
work.
but
Chelsea's in the
Chelsea,
chat too, by the
Chelsea, yeah.
Thank you.
Chelsea never
joining
gets
us.
she never gets time off from me.
Yeah.
Because I'm always ahead. Because I also see that. I think I saw in the last couple of days a couple metal shows pop up in like 6 weeks from now in this area.
Yeah.
I'm like, 6 weeks is not enough.
Yeah.
Like, let's be at least 2-3 months out, because then we aren't the conflict.
Yep.
So that's a big thing. And I know people, almost nobody in this area is doing this as a job, right? We all have jobs. We all have these things. So it's like, it makes it better on everyone else to get the time off if they have to travel. Like,
Yeah.
Swarm that's coming May 23rd. They're from Milwaukee, and
Yeah.
they were like really thankful we asked them early enough.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we can get off work. This is so much easier. I'm like,
Right.
of course.
Yep.
And we do it on a Friday. We assume you work. Like,
That-
of course you work.
that's
I
the-
work.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the way to
I
do it.
half the time have to tell John I'm not going to be there when bands get there because I have to finish my job. Like, it's so we really do keep that in mind a lot.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I really like too how you guys are kind of climbing up there and getting more known, because regionally, summertime wise, so you used to have CDF down in Chicago, right? Les started doing Slam Dakota. I think she's going on year 8 or 9,
Yeah,
right?
something
And
like
Slam
that.
Dakota's great, by the way.
Which is yeah.
Have you
turned
been?
out
Fest.
great.
I've
Have you
been.
been?
I did go.
Fucking
They were
amazing.
they were my COVID fest.
Yeah.
They were the only thing. I think maybe I'm wrong. It might have been 2020. If not, it was 2021.
That was the only fest that happened.
Dude,
before this
we
fest. They
went
still
strictly because I sat in the. I mean, I was in the back with a mask on during
Yeah.
that show because
Yeah.
I was like, "This is nuts that we're here. Like
Yeah.
nothing else exists besides this
Yeah,
fest."
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, sorry.
And
keep
not
going.
not a single person in that bar gave a fuck.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and again, it goes back to the metalheads being respectful. Like there was a batch of like 50, 60 of us that were in masks in the
Yeah.
back.
Oh yeah.
Nobody complained. Everybody, if you want to be in the pit, go for it. But at that time, me and my buddy were like, oh, we don't know what the hell's going on.
I think I was on
But
and
at least
off
there's
with the
metal for that. But sorry,
Yeah.
keep going, Rob.
No, I was just saying, I think it's really cool because, being aware of things, because, when CDF was still going on, then they started doing Texas Domination Fest at Slam Dakota. Then they started co-promoting, working around everybody's schedule, making sure they're not double booking the bands, making sure they're far enough apart. And I think this year you guys are 2 weeks apart between Slam Dakota and Zymurderfest, right?
Yeah, I think we're like a month.
Yeah, it's
Almost
it's
a month.
about
Almost
July.
We're
That's a-
2 weeks from Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel,
though.
that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's another
Yeah.
one, too, I was going to bring up. So I
Yep.
think that's really cool that you all seem to pay attention to that, and you're all cognizant of that,
Yep.
which really helps out all the fests in the summertime. Because being in the Midwest as a musician up here, I don't like playing in the winter. I don't like hauling gear through ice
Yeah.
and snow,
Oh, yeah.
freezing
I remember
temperatures.
that, John.
So we look
A
forward to
storm.
playing these bigger kind of festivals that you guys put on, and like Slam Dakota and stuff like
They're
that.
fun.
Because it's weather's nice, people are wanting to get out, have a good time, have some beers. But it's really cool that you guys make sure you pay attention to that. It's really, really, really good.
Yeah, and we try to focus on because again, we're here for the fun of this. Like, if you follow us, if you want to listen to this and follow us on Facebook, obviously Zymurgy, but we have a Zymurgy All Things Metal. If you Facebook it, you'll find it.
Yep.
We promote those fests because it's good for everyone. Like we don't care.
Yeah.
We are just here to have some fun.
Yeah.
And if I talk to Randy, I talk to Les,
Yep.
cool. I actually even sent Randy an email because I had Morta Skuld headlining my fest and he has them on theirs, and our announcements were a week apart. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry that this just happened. He's like, shit happens. We would have never known that. But I'm like, I know, but it's still a thing. Like I didn't want to
No, that's
have
dude,
this
that's-
weird cross
That's
promotion.
huge respect to just reach out and say, hey, dude, sorry about that.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. Like if I would have,
Yeah.
honestly, if I would have known he had them, and probably vice versa, we probably wouldn't have done it.
Right.
But you know what? Sometimes
Right.
shit happens. But yeah, we're just, I don't know. we're just having a good time.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Well,
day, that's
good,
what we
man.
do.
That's the best part about it is having a good time about the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's once it becomes a job, it's no fun anymore.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
It's
that's
it's
that's
a
our
pain in the
motto
ass.
every time.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch base with you, John, on the brewing stuff. Like, how long have you been brewing? How long have you been?
I have been brewing since 2006.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I went to brewing school in 2005. I went to Siebel Brewing Institute of Brewing Technology in Chicago
Holy shit.
and Germany. So
Okay.
I've been brewing basically my whole entire adult career. So
Wow.
I'm from Milwaukee. I'm from New Berlin.
Yeah.
I worked in Delafield down at Water Street Brewing Company for a few years. I lived in Henderson, Nevada.
Oh wow.
And then I went to Menomonie from Henderson, Nevada, which was a huge culture shock, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I worked for Lucette Brewing Company,
Okay.
which is in Menomonie. I worked there for 6 years. And then my dream was always to have my own place.
Yeah.
So I wasn't necessarily trying to leave Lucette, but then I found out that the old Dennis Standard Auto Shop was up for sale. We were kind of looking all over the place. There was a place called Dave's Brew Farm halfway between here, here and Menomonie.
Okay.
But we would have had to live there, so we didn't want to do that. We were looking in Downsville, which is 7 miles south of Menomonie,
Okay.
but we would have to buy an old creamery. So we were looking at all these places, and nothing made sense. And then basically it's been a standard auto shop since 1954. So that's the building that we're in.
Okay.
And I bought that in 2016, and it took 2 years to rip all the concrete out because it was soaked in oil.
Yeah.
The whole place smelled like Mack trucks,
Right.
So we had to renovate it quite a bit. The bathrooms weren't handicap compliant, all that stuff. And then we opened in December 1st, 2018. And so owning my own business has been amazing. It's difficult, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've been making beer my whole life. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
we've been 6.5 years now.
It's badass, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what made you decide to go to brew school? Like, were you doing it on your own? Were you doing any kind of home brewing or anything like that before?
Yeah. So when I was 18, I found out I could buy ingredients to make beer before I could buy it. So as a young kid from Milwaukee area, I was having fun when I was young. So
Yeah.
that was my first experience, was making a kit beer when I
Yeah.
was 18.
Yeah.
And I dropped out of high school and stuff like that. I graduated on my own. I
Yeah.
went to technical school on my own.
Yeah.
And I just got into the beer world, and my parents encouraged it. And through technical, I went to WCTC, Waukesha County Technical College in Milwaukee. I got to study with Marquette over in Belgium, and live in Belgium for a while in 2004. And then so I lived in Belgium for 4 months, and that got the bug. Then, because the Belgian beer world and the Europe beer world's over the top, and then that's the beer bug, and I got bit with the beer bug. So just like a chef, you don't have to go to school, but I did go to school, and I've been brewing pretty much since 2004. So I've been taking it serious for 21 years. Yeah.
Damn. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I say this because I've been dabbling for a couple of years. Well, a year and a half, 2 years or something like that.
Yep.
I've done a couple different beers, but I'm like,
Yeah.
once you were like, hey, I can maybe John will come with me. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
for
Hell
sure.
yeah, that would be great. So what was what style of beer did you start brewing? What were your go-tos in the beginning?
I worked for a brew pub in Delafield, Wisconsin,
Mhm.
and it was the classic brew pub. So not boring, but English brown.
Mhm.
This would be 2006 too.
Okay.
So there was no hazy IP. We had an English pale ale. I was brewing what other people were having me brew. In Vegas, I was kind of brewing what they wanted me to brew. I've always liked German Weiss beers.
Okay.
We have 15 things on tap at the brewery, and we always only have one IPA,
Okay.
which is not normal, I guess. So I like Belgian beers, I like German beers. I do like hoppy beers.
Now, can you explain the difference between the ones for the people that don't really know or that aren't beer snobs, like Rob over here?
Beer snob.
So
As Rob drinks his Budweiser.
but we are drinking
That's his go-to, man.
yeah.
His go-to.
So a lot of it's just the ingredients and the yeast strains and stuff like that. So a German Weiss beer, the most popular is probably Leinie's Honey Weiss. It's the yeast strain, it's the ingredients. Like a German Weiss beer would be, a Hefe Weiss means yeast, and Weiss means wheat.
And that.
So it's a yeasty wheat beer.
Okay, got it.
And then Belgian beers are usually just funky and aromatic,
Yeah.
and sometimes have sneaky alcohol content.
Yeah.
I've been making an English barley wine since Las Vegas, and we have that on tap. I've been making some version of that.
Like, where is that ABV wise?
It's gone anywhere from 14 to 17.2.
I always say,
we
as
sold-
a
Jesus.
as a connoisseur,
We sold 9 of them last night.
Yeah,
Really,
dude,
like,
as
we do
a-
little snifters. But yeah.
as a connoisseur of craft beer, I love high ABV beer.
Yeah.
And I know I wear the sweatshirt in today, so it's a little on the nose. The only brewery that ever made beer that I could go in consistently and get that was high percentage was Hammerheart when it was in Lino Lakes.
Never went. I've missed
Dude,
it. Dude.
we used to make trips, and it was Lino Lakes. Everybody probably listening knows it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's so far north.
Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin.
Where Jordan
I know,
lives.
in Minnesota.
Oh, there's a Land O'Lakes in Wisconsin.
Oh no, Lino Lakes. It was so far out of the way. But me and a buddy of mine would hit it up almost every time we came to the cities from Melcher, even though it's literally an hour and a half drive to get there and back, like back down the cities. But we could go in there and find a beer that was like 16.5%. And I remember thinking this was the coolest thing ever. And Zymurgy is the one other brewery that I consistently go to where I can go in and be like, there's a 15.9
Yeah.
right
But
there.
we put it in a barrel and we let it age for 12, 16 months. So
That's
I take
sick.
it properly.
Wow.
Those beers taste very gross.
Now I don't want to like
There
if
you go.
there's a secret to your barrel or anything. What type of barrel do you use? Oak. or-
We use 45th Parallel, which is in New Richmond.
Okay.
They're a bourbon whiskey distillery, and they do aperitifs and gins.
If
so
you
it's
if you guys have never been there, you should make a trek.
It's
It's awesome. It's a fantastic distillery. Maybe an hour.
They
from here.
have wood-fired pizzas, but it's American oak, and it's their either their rye whiskey or their bourbon, and we'll take those and they'll empty them on a Monday, and then I'll fill them on a Wednesday, and then 12 months at least. Yeah.
So
for
now
the barrel aged.
so
for the bourbon.
how long are they keeping those barrel? How long are they keeping their product in those barrels?
Anywhere from, I think a bourbon legally has to be 2 to 4 years, but
Okay.
I've never gotten anything less than 4 or 5 years.
Awesome.
So it sits for 4 or 5 years.
So
in there.
these are soaked. These are really good soaked.
So you get a little, they're fresh. Yeah. So you get a little alcohol from the wood,
Yeah.
and then you get alcohol from evaporation. So we had Marzana Russian Imperial Stout, which we release on the winter solstice of every year. Maybe not
That
this
sounds
year.
good.
'cause I don't have it in a barrel yet, but that sat for 2 years, and that's why that one actually went up to 17.2, because eventually things start evaporating, and then the alcohol content just goes up. But it gets
Interesting.
smooth. Somehow it doesn't taste like.
Now
the-
I
it
have to
gets-
say, I haven't had a drink in 5 months, 5.5 months.
Oh no, John.
You want
So
some root beer after that?
no. So I did one IPA. I'm not a huge IPA guy,
Yeah.
and I know as you let it get warm, it's has a little bit more bite to it. I feel when IPAs get a little warmer. I let this one get a little warmer. This is a very smooth IPA, dude. Very well done. This is really good. What did you use for hops on this one, if you don't mind me asking?
That is Simcoe, Centennial, and Cascade.
Okay.
And that, what you see on your glass right there, that's called Belgium Lace. That's called the Belgium Lace. That means the glass is clean. Good job, bartenders. It's
I wish I could wear that as a stocking. No, just kidding.
yeah. But thank you. I appreciate that. It's a easy 3Z is also when you're playing golf or disc golf, when it's a par 3, and it's easy. Easy 3Z.
Okay.
So it's a 4.2% beer meant to be drank while you're disc golfing.
Yeah.
If
So you can
if
you can hammer that one. That's a really smooth one.
That's why we started
like
with
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
like
I
the
appreciate
IPAs, man. I've had so many bottled IPAs, and that's coming out of your tap though. That's into out of a growler into our glass.
Yeah, that came from the tap right before I left.
So
three
that
hours
is
ago.
as fresh as it gets, man. That is as smooth as it gets. When I pop them from a regular bottle, man, it's just got such a bite to it. That's what makes me not a huge IPA guy, but when they're smooth like that, I can handle
I
it.
appreciate that. And
Now-
the next beer is a cranberry weiss. So
Now,
and then we have a big dark beer after that.
let me ask you this now. Now, when it comes to those hops, what is your which is your bittering in the middle of that? Do you have how does it work when you hop?
For this one, this is not. So we boil. So I'll talk about brewing real
Sure,
quick. As
sure.
in, we have our barley. We mix our barley. We
Yep.
make our sugar water, and then we boil that for 60 minutes. And you can put hops in for 60 minutes and get a bunch of bitterness. We don't add very many hops at all. We add a little bit of Cascade and Centennial for that. But because it's not so bitter, we wait till the very end of the boil.
Gotcha.
We add a bunch of hops in there, and then it's not boiling.
I'm celebrating because I did it right. That's what I'm saying,
Are
man.
you good?
We're probably gonna have to make beer at some point together, but
Oh,
then, so at the very
It's
end,
Zymurderfest,
at the
Greg.
very, I know.
Uh-oh.
So let's say you're boiling for 60 minutes. If you add hops at the end, you're not boiling it anymore, so you're not getting the bitterness.
Right.
You're gonna get more aroma, and then dry hopping is the next big thing. But since it's only 4.2%,
So do you
still have to not-
dry hop that one?
this is dry hopped heavily. Yeah,
Oh,
for me,
okay.
someone who doesn't make IPAs. So
Okay.
It's taken me 18 years to finally make a beer hoppy enough for people to be like, "This is a pale ale."
I don't
'Cause
feel
my
like
threshold
that's.
is kind of low.
I don't feel like that
It's
is
not.
so
Oh, really?
smooth, dude.
It's
That's
not-
that.
It's more juicy and aromatic,
Right.
as opposed to bitter. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude.
That everyone has different taste buds, right? And my threshold's kind of low for bitterness,
Yeah.
so I can't. And when we do death metal shows, I'm probably drinking Easy 3Z because it is 4.2% until I switch to Talisman. But the goal is to be able to make it thirst quenching. Yeah.
Right, dude. I'm learning as I'm going.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That's
Well, I have
sick,
to make
man.
it together for sure.
That's and I haven't brewed anything in almost a year, dude. I've got everything to do a batch, and I've been waiting. I was going to do some dark stuff during the winter. You know, I got 2 taps in my house. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do
If you
that.
ever need to buy a 6-barrel, you can buy. Well, you're in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
there you
We'll
go,
figure it
you
out.
know.
Yeah.
What beer? Well, I have to ask. What beers did you try out?
Oh God! Now I'm doing. I started with kits, right? So I just bought a couple kits,
Yeah.
and I did a brown ale. I did a stout. I did a hazy, and that was what I started with just the kits. And then I started watching a lot of videos on it, and then I started like, oh shit, they like take all of the ingredients and do it a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what if I can do half and half? And then I see a kit out there that's like that, and I started taking the measurements of the kits, and then I was only doing a gallon. I started with a gallon, and then I was like, first I started with mead. That was my first thing that I brewed was mead. I did a bunch of different meads. I still
Mead
have.
rolls.
I still
I should have
have
brought some meat. I make.
I still have
Oh,
like
mead
a
is the best.
case and a half, maybe a mead. My mead's pretty good. It turned out
Ooh.
fairly well
We'll
for.
meet again. I've been making,
We'll
I've been
meet
making
again.
meat for 20 years.
Dude, I almost brought some just to try. I was just gonna have some, but I'm like, they're gonna bring beer. You know what I mean?
It's true.
I didn't want
He
to
owes
take an
us.
Uber.
He owes
We
us.
owe each
Remember
other-
that.
we owe
It's
each
on
other meat.
recording now.
I've made meat my whole life.
Oh,
I'll give you feedback.
dude. So I was like, holy shit, you know? And my buddies kept saying, dude, when are you going to do beer? When are you going to do beer? And I'm like, I'm not going to do beer. I'm just going to do mead. That's it, you know? And then all of a sudden I was like a kit, and then a half kit, you know, half grain, half kit. And then I'm like, I'm going to start doing this at a higher volume and do my own math. So I just started taking pieces. I think I still have all my notes from every beer I've done. I think I've done maybe 11 or 12.
Nice.
And I did
That's pretty good.
a chocolate vanilla stout on my, no, I did a vanilla, what the fuck was it?
Dude, that's all me right there.
I did a
Chocolate, vanilla,
two
let's
really
go.
good
You
stouts.
just have a vanilla.
I
beer?
did just have a vanilla beer before this, so I'm all in.
Coffee. I did coffee, a chocolate coffee stout. I did a vanilla and chocolate mix.
Oh yeah.
More caramel. A lot of caramel
yeah,
to it.
yeah.
You brought some peanut butter stuff over to my house, didn't you?
Yep.
Ooh,
peanut butter
yep.
stuff.
That's good
I did
stuff,
one of
too.
those.
Amazing.
And then I
Yep.
did the pineapple one. That was the one that we had the night that I came over all on mushrooms.
Yeah, you need to start brewing again. You live too close to me not to do that.
Yeah,
Bring
yeah.
Garlos over.
So I brought over a couple growlers and I set him down, you know, and he usually drinks light stuff. So I'm like, oh, here, man, if you like it, we'll just. And then he ended up finishing the pineapple stuff. He's like, dude, this shit's really good, you know? And I'm really leery about showing people this stuff because it's like my palate is different than everybody else's.
yeah.
But I really like, you know, ales. I really like things that are, you know, I did a blonde ale and that was something that it just had the right creaminess to it. So I kind of narrowed it down to where I could get it. And then I did one of my own.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I nailed it. It's great. It's just the clarity of it. I'm still working on some of that stuff. But
I used to do beer judging and
Yeah.
putting beer into competitions. And
Yeah.
people's reactions to your beer. Imagine if you owned your own place.
Right.
Yeah, but you just got to make what you like. And
Well-
a lot of it's like feedback is good.
Yeah.
Just like being a cook.
yeah.
Like you got to welcome the feedback for sure. Yeah.
Well, so I went to a party. It was my buddy was Trent Horselord was having kind of a going away thing. He was moving to the country and shit. And so I brought a couple growlers over there, some meat over there, And I know that there was a bunch of Renfest people there, so I was like, "Here, try my mead," and they were like, "Dude, this is really good. Holy shit, you did this!" And I was like, "Yeah, really, being like." In my head, I'm going, yes, I did do that. It's in your mouth, yes.
From Ren Fair people, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's why I was like, very cool. And then this one guy comes up and he was, kind of cocky about it. And he just said, all right, my dad used to brew all the time when I was a kid and he could never get it right, And I'm like, yeah, my grandpa used to brew it when I was a kid too and I couldn't drink beer. So I was just, I wanted to give it a try. So he poured out some of my stout and he gave a shot of that shit. And just the look on his face, he was like, you nailed it. And I'm just like, cool, right on, man.
Oh, nice.
And he was going, you got to try this dude's beer. So then eventually, more than half the party tried it. And I left shit there. So
nice,
like,
good for
guys
you.
Keep it. I'm out of here, That's good stuff, man.
Cool.
It feels good when someone likes something you make. Speaking of that, we're probably on to beer number 2 soon.
Awesome.
Oh man, you better get beer number 2.
I'm
Greg
good.
keeps
I'm
going.
good with that. So like now Dustyn, what kind of stuff got you involved in the whole booking stuff? Like was it just?
It was the story I said. There was nothing behind it. So my background is nonprofit work. I'm a nonprofit worker for a museum right now. So I'm very event heavy.
Yeah.
So I do events partially for a living in a way, and a lot of the stuff I do.
Yeah.
So there was no intention of this happening. As John and I laugh constantly, as I said earlier, there was no intention that this was more than a one-time show. So there was no love for it. One thing I will say, and again, I'm not going to keep fluffing Rob's feathers over here. It's only because Rob's in the room.
Right.
But one thing that's been great too is I know we give a lot of credit to metalheads. The bands overall are all so good to work with that it makes doing this a lot more fun. It truly does. Like, because I'm an events person, when the event's going on, I almost don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It sounds mean, but it's not. Like, I'm excited that all these bands are here. But when we get to the point where the music starts, the event's done at that point.
Yeah.
It's going to go. Yeah, I might have a few questions here and there. I'm excited that the 70 people are having a good time.
Yeah.
I no longer am as involved as I once was. So like that's all I care about, really. So no, long story short, this was not a point of my life that I was going to go for. It just was not. This was not.
We're just totally a fan, ready to rock. That was it.
Just a metal fan.
So having it come about that way, are you glad you got into it? Do you enjoy it now? As far as dealing with the bands and setting it all up, and as a promoter, you're always going to run into issues dealing with those occasionally, right?
Yeah. Overall, it's really fun. Again, and I say this to people all the time.
Oh, this could be dangerous.
Oh gosh, hang on, let me try it
My
quick
wife
before
would
I
love
keep
this.
talking.
Sorry.
What do we got here, John? Quick, give us the update.
This is Ramblin' Rose, which is a great Grateful Dead song. We've been making this on and off ever since we opened. Ramblin' Rose is like our fruit weiss beer, but we just got cranberry concentrate from a farm in Wisconsin.
Oh, so it's sourced locally.
It is,
too.
yeah. So we've been doing this for a few months, and then it's going to go away until the fall, and then we're going to get hopefully like a bulk amount of cranberry weiss to keep it going all the time. But 5.2% German weiss beer. This is the same yeast strain that makes the Bone Mother that we're going to try next too.
Okay.
So,
I like it, dude. Yeah, it's
really good.
That
Refreshing.
That cranberries.
It's a little tart. I backsweeten it a little bit.
It pulls that off though. Like it's tart, and then as it goes back, it dries off to where it's.
I love that. I love that dry. That's why I drink
Yeah,
it.
nice and balanced, tart and sweet, but nothing too crazy. We
Yeah,
don't make a lot of sweet beers either. So.
It doesn't hang on. You know what I mean? Like it's good flavor.
You want to take the next taste. You want to keep drinking.
Keep drinking. That's true.
What'd you say that one was at?
But sorry,
five something.
I'll let him
5.2.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. So like long story short, like no, it's overall it's been a really enjoyable experience. Like the bands are overall, I would say 95% of the time, everybody's good. Everybody's having a good time. The issues we've ran into have been relatively cool. You know, we all know what it's like to book a show. Every once in a while, shit happens and we get through it. We have a pretty we really have hit a couple of the moments of, some of the underlying bad things of metal. So we have a no tolerance policy. We tell bands straight up, we don't deal with shit. Like we don't, because again, I know people sometimes give me shit about it, but like everything I do is to have fun in it. Like whether it's the museum I work at, the vintage baseball team I run, which is a thing, all this other shit at the end of the day, if we're not having fun, we don't care anymore. So the second something comes up where we don't think it's fun, we just tell them, hey, this isn't interesting to us anymore.
Sure.
You might not even be at fault. And we tell bands that. We've had to cancel probably 3 bands overall. Shit comes up. We just tell them, it's nothing against you. We don't care enough to like back you. And it's not that I don't know you. You might be a great person. All these people might be great, and this could all be bullshit. But at the end of the day, we aren't in it for anything.
Now you're just saying.
But we have a great time, though.
As far as drama and bullshit that comes.
We don't
along
do
with,
it.
with shit.
Yeah.
With some bands.
Chelsea did a really good job at Zymurderfest a couple of years ago at the front page of our agreement, which again, just keep referring to Rob as he's across the table from me. I send an agreement out to every band.
Yeah.
Like every band knows, because we like to be up front. We know what you're getting. We guarantee. We like knowing all the variables. That's our thing, right? So like we know what we have to do to the bands. We know what we pay them. The bands know what we pay them. So at the end of the night, we have never once had a complaint about money.
Right.
Because everybody knows when you walk in the door what's happening.
Right.
Everybody knows what's going on. So as long as we uphold our deal, you uphold your deal, we're having a great time. We don't care. So yeah, we've had a few bit of drama, but like even our Zymurderfest, Chelsea was great because we'd run into something. She goes, first page, you don't even have to get past it to go into the rest of the agreement. It's don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
If you have baggage, tell us now.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You know how metal community is. You're going to find out.
Yeah, quick.
And if we find out, we're not going to deal with you anymore.
Yep.
We'll just cut ties.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not worth it for anybody really. Right. So.
Well, that's kind of I know we make light of it when it comes to the scene police, but that's the truth of it. There are a lot of people that are watching around. You know what I'm saying? Like, we kind of police ourselves when it comes, because Rob and I are both part of the NYDM, and that's one of the things that Lee's Liquor Lounge, a place that I used to book at. All of the clubs that we've been, Club Underground, any of the places that we book at have always said, hey, you guys police yourselves. We don't have to worry about anything. We don't even have to up our security because we know you guys are going to take care of it. Yep. I think the music scene in the Twin Cities, Wisconsin, the surrounding areas, it really does work like that there.
It does.
If something comes up, you are going to get called out on it. You know what I mean? Or they're just people won't work with you. You know what I mean? It's bad for business, like you said. If it's not fun for anybody, what's the fun?
And nobody's doing this for between bands, promoters, venues. Yeah. Nobody's doing it to make a ton of money.
Right.
No,
so what the fuck? Why would we do it?
Yeah.
I do feel for those venues. Like a couple of years ago, there was a band that I was gonna book on a show. Shit happened. Doesn't matter who they are. They were on a show to a promoter I knew, and they went to bat for him, and I'm like, why? Yeah. Why? It's not worth it. And they told me after it wasn't. I'm like, of course it wasn't. It's nothing against those people.
Right.
But they were like, oh my gosh, the shit we got.
Oh, you mean?
That's the business aspect.
Yeah. They were like, oh, we got so many phone calls and emails.
Right.
I'm like, why did you back them?
Yep.
Like, you don't know that. Like, do you know them? Like, do you have a friend in the band? Like, maybe that's a different story.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we just really felt committed. I'm like, but why? Just let them do their own thing at this point. Just enjoy this. Just, I don't know.
Yeah,
I know it sounds so cut and dry, some of the things we do, but that's just where we're at.
That's just part of the business aspect. You have a fest that you've invested in. That's an annual thing now at this point, right? So as a promoter, I get that. It's like, hey, we're not agreeing or disagreeing, but it's just not worth to bring this for the one band that's going to play for 35 to 40 minutes.
Right.
For our fest,
out of
right?
10 bands.
Out of 10 bands. And no offense,
So-
it's never the headliner.
Right.
Like, it's never the headliner.
Yeah.
And, like,
So-
that's not even, like, that's not a slight to anyone, but I don't get that
I don't
email
know.
about the headliner.
Right.
And I don't know this about the community too much, but our mosh pit scene, when it does happen, seems to be pretty legit. Like, we have some females in the crowd, and I've never seen any fist flying.
Shenanigans.
That's not my world either. So
Yeah.
we've never had
lucked
to
out.
say anything, and we've never seen anything.
Yeah, we've really. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the culture we're trying to bring.
Yeah.
I know we keep, like, that's the thesis of what we do, but it really is. Like, it just is what we want to do, is have a good time, listen to some loud freaking music, drink some beer, and, like, let's just have fun for 5-6 hours. Let's forget the outside world.
Right.
Take your, like, it's horrible sometimes. So if we can ignore it for 5 hours, fucking let's go.
Yeah, no
like,
doubt,
that's where
man.
we're at.
No doubt.
So.
No doubt. So I want to touch on those shows you've got coming up, because I know you have the May 23rd show coming up, right? You
Yep.
want to tell everybody who's all on that show?
Yeah, so that's our small show. So obviously, inflation's hitting everyone. Even though we try to keep our shows affordable, that's a big thing that we Chelsea focuses on a lot. Is we are Menomonie, we aren't the Twin Cities, and even Twin Cities prices are pretty low at shows that aren't even national shows are $30. That's pretty cheap. So we have our first $10 show in like a year and a half. That is Swarm from Milwaukee. I think they're Slam. They're pretty fun. I've listened to them for a while. Dead Soul Symphony, one of the band you listened to earlier.
Absolutely.
Our house band's our first return to Zymurgy since Corey's. So we're excited.
Excited for that.
And then the Towering Abomination's going to be there. They played our fest last year at a last-minute fill-in, like a week before the show. When
What'd you think of that?
canceled. Dude, I listened to Towering Abomination on their like first album like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I forgot that, like, you know how
They
metal is.
disappeared, dude.
You know how metal is,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
you get into a band for a year or two, and then they have like another album, and then they disappear, break up, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never thought of them again.
Yeah.
And then like that year, like they were just active.
Dude, Stevie is one of those guys you can't forget, though. That dude
Oh.
is such a
Dude, they're
Pretty
so
rips.
awesome.
beast, dude. He's
Such
so
cool. Yeah,
such
they're
a beast. Those guys as a band just blew me away the first time I saw them. Just
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
Right.
dude?
Yep.
Well, and when I saw that they were active again, we had our fest, and yeah, like our fest last year, we had some cancellations, and it was all like within. I was on vacation in Gettysburg, and I was like, we lost our sound tech in 2 bands within 24 hours. It was amazing, and I'm on vacation with my family.
It was all good in the end, though.
It
So
was,
that's fine.
but I remember like when we were like, I gotta get some fillers here. One of my first ones was like, Towering Abomination's a thing again. I used to love them.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll go for it, and they did. And I always love, which I'm sure you guys know, I love doing a fest where there's 10 bands. Obviously, everybody knows they're gonna like the headliner, right? I love knowing the band that hits in the middle. That's
Mhm.
always my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of people that came up to me that weekend and said Towering Abomination rocked. Like, get these fuckers back here now.
Yeah.
I always listen to Bloodletter, the shirt I have on.
Yeah.
That was the other one this last year. Those were the 2 bands that people were
that
like,
was my favorite. Was
yeah,
Bloodletter.
those are the 2 bands people were like, bring them back.
Yeah.
And we listened to that too. So I was like, oh, we got to ask them. So they're a cheap $10 May 23rd, 3 bands in and out. Let's
18
go.
plus? 18 plus?
Yeah, we just started doing 18 plus this year after being 21 plus for a long time.
That's
So we're
fantastic, man.
switched over.
That's very cool to do
Yes.
that, man.
Thank you, Zymurgy, for that. That
Yeah,
was
very,
great.
very
Yep, yep.
cool to be able to do stuff like that. I know that's something that when I was doing the Skyway thing, I tried to bring back the all ages
Yeah.
and just push it was like 18 plus, and I was like, hey, can we do all ages? They go, how late? I go, as late as we can, and they go, do it, and I go, yes, and
Yeah.
it was like it hurt my back at the end of it,
Yeah.
and a bunch of shows, after I hurt my back. And every show was like better and better and better. And I'm at home going, fuck, I wish I was at the show. But
Yeah. Well, we love it too because like Menomonie, if people haven't been to Zymurgy, we are right in the smack dab of downtown.
Right.
So I think 11:30s are out, which again, Rob will love this. So a couple years ago when Glutton actually did our first like really big fest, we went. I think you guys were the headliners.
Yep.
Because you guys went on late. We had the cops show up at about 11:15 because there's apartments right next to Zymurgy,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's not quite. And we opened the doors.
Yeah.
We let it out, and it's funny. The cops showed up and they're like, "So you guys know the curfew, right?" We're like, "Yeah, we know." They're like, "How many songs they got left?" And I think I went up to Rob and whoever the singer was at the time, and I was like, "How many songs you guys got left?" They're like 3. I'm like, "How about 3?" And the cops were like, "We'll hang outside for 3." And I was like,
Nice.
"Great."
That's
that was
awesome.
because of a man who came down in his pajamas
Yeah, he was
around
pissed.
30 minutes before that.
Oh,
He was
Like, why are
very
you
mad.
playing music on a Saturday night? I'm like, what other night would you
It's
play?
Whatever.
Yeah.
It was
It was
11:15.
10:45 at that point. Or,
Yeah, it was so early.
so he was panicking, hoping you guys would get done. He
It
didn't
was
have
an
to deal with
interesting
that shit,
thing.
Yeah.
A
we
couple of
can
the
go
first
past
years,
midnight, but-
yeah, a couple of the first years we did get those a few things once in a while. But yeah, sorry.
I mean, you open the garage doors and it goes right down. I mean,
Right into
Right on
the
Main
city.
Street. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's outside. Yeah. So
All right, so you folks just make sure that you get over there. I mean, it's a Friday too, so May 23rd, 7 p.m. doors or start of the show.
7 p.m. doors. We'll start the show at 8.
Rock on, man. And then you said Towering Abomination, Swarm, and Dead Soul Symphony. Make sure you guys shoot over there for that. 18 plus, by the way. Get over there and do some stuff. What do we got here? The June 8th show. Now that's
June 6th.
is it June 6th?
It's a Sunday, June 6th. Yeah. right?
No, June 8th.
Am I wrong?
You are
Oh
wrong.
God,
Yes.
thank God I'm not the promoter.
I'm going. Holy shit! No,
Jesus.
it is June 8th. Yep,
Fuck.
and that's at the Mabel, correct?
Oh, it is. Yeah. So that's the other thing that I do help promote at. Which have you played there, Rob? Did you play the Maple Tainer yet?
I have not. No.
Oh God, I'll get you over there next time. So if anybody doesn't know, I'll give the quick backstory. The Maple Tainer is a 140-year-old theater in downtown Menomonie. It's gorgeous.
Sick.
It's sick. So this
Beautiful.
it's like one of them buildings. It's the building in Menomonie that I can walk into and never get sick of walking into.
Yeah.
It's all original from 1890 to 1896. Like almost everything. The architecture is beautiful. And a few years ago, the director, who's a friend of mine, he was very big on let's get everything on the stage that's never been on the stage. And I was like, I know one thing you haven't done on the stage, and it's this. And he goes, all right.
Yeah.
And so he gave me a budget, and I was like, he's like, let's do it in the summer because they're off season, just like everybody in Menomonie. They're off season in the summer. I was like, give me a summer Saturday and give me a budget, and I'll book you 5 bands. And he's like, cool. And they're used to booking $10,000 to $20,000 talents.
Yeah.
That's obviously not this.
Yeah.
So when I booked the 5 bands for I think probably under a few grand,
Yeah.
Metalheads, he was like, holy shit, not only did we have like 120 people here, he's like, they drank so much.
They were probably respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were respectful of the theater because we were,
Yeah.
because Casket Robbery was on that
Yeah.
first show. Because that first show I did there, I was
I
very
should have played
on.
those guys. God damn, they're awesome.
They're awesome. They're the sweetest people. And
They
that
are.
first show of the Mabel, because again, going back to the first show we did at Zymurgy, there was no expectation this would ever happen again. I went into that Mabel show. This is a one-off. Let's make it fun. And I'm only going to bring people in that I know I can trust to not tell the people to break the chairs. Like, I can't have bands like that. Every band has to be on board that this is a 140-year-old theater that doesn't do death metal.
Yeah.
And so it was like Casket Robbery, Putrid Pile,
Oh Jesus.
and Witchden was there.
Oh, nice.
And Blood War, I think, opened, something like that. So long story short, like, it went well. And since then, I've done about 2 a year there. And we had Psycho Stick last fall, which was great. So
Did
this
anything
one,
get broken then?
no,
They're
people
fun.
were, dude, that
fun.
place
That
was
was fun.
packed.
I had friends
They're fun.
excited for that.
That was fun.
It was silly.
Well, because then, of course, the Mabel, because they have the budget, unlike Zymurgy, I saw the Psycho Stick on the wall.
Yeah.
Because, Zymurgy, our budget's X. Mabel's budget's 3 times more than ours.
Sure.
So we kind of like, pretty much what happens is occasionally at Zymurgy, we get offered a tour
Yeah.
that we cannot afford.
Yeah.
And there's just no way we can negotiate. So pretty much I'll negotiate with whoever the agent is and be like, can we get down to this to do it at Zymurgy? And they'll just be like, oh, I think we're off. And then I'll shoot it to the Mabel and be like, does it fit your schedule? So it's a Sunday. It's Inferi, Vitriol, Demon King, and Grey Lotus. It's that
Yeah.
Rags to Riffage or something.
Yep, that's what it's called.
And I saw Inferi and Vitriol last summer
Vitriol's
at Full
sick.
Terror Assault.
Yeah.
And that was the show where Vitriol's bassist walked off stage
Right.
and quit right in front of everyone.
Damn.
Yeah, it was wild. And they played a 2-piece the rest of the time. It was
brutal.
wild.
They're brutal.
But they're
man.
brutal. And Inferi rock too. Like I'd never seen them before, and they were really good. So yeah, it's weird. Like I always tell people, if you want to come see a metal show, John can vouch for me here. I mean, Zymurgy's great. And we love you.
It's strange being in an old theater, seeing such brutal music.
Yeah.
Right?
And then when it's
wild.
over and it's quiet,
Yeah.
It's
strange.
fucked up. It's strange.
It's cool. It's just
Right.
it's a whole thing. And
Dude,
it
there's
sounds,
gotta be a
the sound
mad
could be
vibe in
better,
there.
of course. The
Yeah.
sound is amazing.
The vibe's weird. Well, like, so John, maybe help correct me, but so they have these curtains that, like, think of a theater
Yeah.
that you have to untie the ropes and they drape.
Yeah.
They're the only theater, I'm pretty sure, left in the country with this specific curtain. So
Wow.
between the bands, we drop the curtain. And guess what? Mabel only does the curtain drop for Theater Guild shows, which is 3 times a year, and metal shows. Nobody else gets the.
Oh, that
Because
Yeah, you're looking at an empty curtain,
Dude.
and it is
Right.
kind of epic.
Yeah.
It is.
Nice.
And then
So it's
there's
crazy.
there can be a little bit of a pit, but
Yeah.
after about 20 feet of
Yeah, we could probably fit about
chairs, so
40 people in the front to actually like create a little mini
Yeah.
mosh pit.
if they get going, it's kind of funny seeing people
Oh, and-
politely mosh. Like,
But
an
my
old
favorite
theater.
thing is, and we can move on, but my favorite thing was the first, it's just kind of like Zymurgy, and you guys know, but when we did that metal show, their volunteers and staff are all over. They're ladies over 50, 60, 70 years old. And this lady that works there, she's one of their main employees. Her name's Mel. And she walked up and she goes, Dustyn, I have to admit, I had no clue what was going to happen tonight because this is ridiculous. She goes, these are the nicest people we've ever had here. She goes, they are so nice. Bring them back. Keep doing metal shows. And we were like, that's all we needed to know. So we've done about, I think this is our 4th or 5th one. So
Dude,
far.
that is so awesome.
That's awesome.
It's just nice to have an extra if we can get it,
Yeah.
because we do occasionally get tour offers, and
Right.
you know, our venues only so
I'm
big.
amazed the offers that you do get. Yeah,
It's wild.
it's
It's
always
weird.
a band I've never heard of, but
It's always weird.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Again, this is Sunday, June 8th, 2025, 7 p.m. Doors, Rags to Riffage. Again, that's in Fury, Vitriol, Grey Lotus, Demon King, and Caustic Abyss.
Oh yeah, Caustic Abyss is on that.
And
yeah.
I have to say that is one of my favorite local albums that had just dropped. Is that Caustic Abyss is fucking ridiculous.
They're very good.
Yeah, heavy stuff. So if you guys get a chance, make your way out there, and then we have your big show coming up, and that is in August, correct?
Correct.
That is the
15th and 16th. I got that date right.
yes, you did. The Zymurderfest. You want to tell who's on that and what?
Oh God, here we go.
Can you remember all?
Can I remember all 14? Is that the pop
I'll name
quiz
it.
right
I'll
now?
name one. That's Old Symphony.
Yeah, they're the opener on Saturday. Oh shit, this is gonna be horrible. Friday is Liquefied Decomposition. Macabre's headlining. Oh God,
number
this is
one
gonna be
band.
awful. No, Necro Cannibal Granders. Is that Friday?
I'm very excited for Necro.
Oh, we'll get
Ask
in.
her,
Ask us that story right after this. Oh God, this is gonna be bad. Is that the Obsidian Shrine Cabra Negra night, or is that Saturday? Oh, he's not gonna give me any. Greg's not gonna. He wants to
is
quiz
Friday.
me.
That's
That's Friday. So I'm
missing.
missing one band on Friday. This is not great radio or podcasting.
No, hold
so-
on a second. Now back up. So what did you say? You said
Macabre is the headliner.
Yep.
For sure. That's been one of the number one bands we've been, of course, Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
They are kind of like the Wisconsin underground dudes.
Sick as shit. Yeah.
So we have been asked for them for 6 years, and we have phone tagged every 6 months for 6 straight years.
Yeah.
And so we finally got it. But Obsidian Shrine is on there. They're black metal. They're coming on tour with Cabra Negra from Mexico, from Colombia.
Yep.
Liquefied Decompositions that night,
Yes, sir.
and then Necro Cannibal Grinders opening.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Who is my? Oh, it's a Carrion Throne.
There you go,
Oh.
dude. Woo!
Carrion Throne's heavy
Nothing
shit
but
too.
net on that
and
one,
that's
dude.
and that's a great thing about other fests too is Carrion Throne I never heard of, and I think they played Slam Dakota at one point, and I'm pretty sure, and I listened to them because of that flyer, and I was like, holy shit, these dudes are some heavy people. So I'm pumped for that.
Now that's the Friday night. Now what do we got for Saturday?
Okay, so Saturday night's Morta Skuld's headlining. That's co-headlining with Animals Killing People from Brooklyn, New York.
Yep.
That's the band I really wanted because I love me some grindcore once in a while, and they're awesome. Check out their Obscene Extreme YouTube videos because they do such a good job on Obscene Extreme with some video editing. Oh, God. So Dead Soul Symphony's playing that night. Obscene is there. Obscene's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm going to struggle. Torn the Fuck Apart is there.
Yes.
Those dudes
Those
Torn
dudes
the
rip.
Fuck Apart
They kill.
rip,
Yeah,
by
my
the
favorite
way.
band on this bill for this
The
weekend.
word fuck on.
What's that?
Yeah, I know. We loved it.
On social
That's my
Love
favorite
it.
band on this bill for this
Yeah.
weekend.
Dude.
I love those
Kill.
fucking
Nice.
dudes.
Saw those dudes a couple years ago at Full Terror Assault, and they was like, they kind of got a low billing too, so it was like 100 degrees, sun's out, they're on the stage where the sun is killing them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like 4 p.m, and I'd listened to them, and I saw them live and went, shit, like this was awesome. So they've been another band I've
Yeah.
tagged with a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm toast. I don't think I'm gonna get these last couple. Oh, Celestial Serpent,
Yep.
they're great.
They got 2 more, 3 more.
Bernardo, the gentleman in Celestials, doing our sound. That's Necro Productions. So
he did it
that's
2 years.
He's
He
a
did
cool,
it 2
he's
years
a cool
ago.
dude.
He's a great guy, does
Yep.
great sound. He always worked with Miguel at
Yep.
Chicago Domination
Yep.
and Texas
He's a
Domination.
killer drummer too.
Dude, he's great.
Great vocalist too.
Yeah, they're very good. Oh, Molecular Decay. They're from Colombia.
Ooh, you got that one?
We're excited for that. I'm missing one, I think.
You're missing one that's a repeat from last year.
Oh, it's Pantheon.
There you
Our
go.
Boys.
Oh,
Our
also, I'll say-
boys.
This guy
Besides
helps
Casket
him out.
Robbery?
Look at that.
Oh,
He's
Besides
like,
Casket
"Oh,
Robbery,
give
Pantheon.
Pantheon.
you a hint.
Pantheon is there's some great. That's another band
BJ
going back
Cook.
to like the band. BJ's
their
great.
third time. Their third time.
3 straight Zymurderfest.
Yeah.
Let's keep it
That's
coming. I love those guys. I
Dude,
love BJ
they're
too.
another one of those bands. I remember they were another one of those bands. When Bandcamp first became a thing, I used to go on. Remember how you could buy albums for like, I mean, you still can, but like a
Yeah,
buck.
yeah.
I would go through metal albums on all these different things, and I would just be like $1, $2, and I would just pack this like huge library of music. And I remember having Pantheon on there, And I saw when they started doing like they tour a shit ton. They play a lot.
Yeah, they do.
So when they started seeing, I'm like, God, remember it's straight Towering Abomination, where I was like, I listened to them 6 years ago. I should see what they're up to and if they'll drive up here for this. And yeah, this will be their third one. They're awesome every time. They're another band.
Arkansas?
Yeah, they're another band that fits that middle spot that after the show's off, people go, that I really liked. And I remember you said that.
Yeah. And I've been following BJ. He seems like a good guy, dude.
Great guys.
And yeah, in general, like not a lot of bands stand out for me.
Yep.
It's not a Blur, but it's kind of like a Blur because it's just straight death metal, you know.
Right.
And
I do, yeah.
and I don't listen to it on my own, but that Pantheon stands out for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Bloodletter as well, Casket Robbie.
Yeah. And this year I really tried to. Last year just kind of happened the way like scheduling happened, but this year I really tried to switch some genres up too. If you're gonna have a fest, switch the genres up. Get some black, get some slam. That's why we have. That's why we have the one man grind band. You got to have it all because that's what people want.
Absolutely, man.
Variety.
Good mix of them all.
Yep.
We should take a listen to some tunes and enjoy a little bit of heavy metal here. We got some Glutton for Punishment up next. What song is that, Rob? Is that Glutton for Punishment?
That's Glutton for Punishment. Glutton for Punishment. I don't name the songs.
From what album?
From Flesh to Ruin.
Nice. And then we got the band we were just talking about right after that, some Towering Abomination. I'm going to play those tunes. So let's listen to some tunes and we'll be back. Y'all, take a listen. what's happening? What's happening? You know what it is. Ritual Madness Podcast. Thank you for joining us. We're having a good time over here. The guys are outside having a smoky treat, and I'm trying to get my earplug on here. I'm trying to do this this thing that Jordan was telling me before. Jordan is down in Louisiana watching Acid Bath right now, as a matter of fact, and I'm super jealous because he's down there with his wife enjoying the show at the Fillmore. One of those things. We talked about that just before we came on here. Dustyn actually asked me, "What am I going to be able to make any of the Acid Bath shows?" And I was able to have Jordan scored me a ticket for the Iowa show, so I'm going to go down there. And I know my brother's going to be there. There's like a handful of people coming. There's probably a shit ton of people.
Oh yeah, that I don't think the Iowa show's the one that's like. I don't think it's sold out yet.
Yeah, I don't know if it is.
Yeah, because I got tickets to the Chicago one.
Oh, did you?
Because I didn't think they were going to hit anywhere else.
Right.
I just didn't think so. The fact that they hit Iowa, I'm a little pissed. I was like, damn, I could have waited for Iowa, but I mean, it'll be great either way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. What? So with the Chicago one, what is who's on that one?
It's High on Fire.
Okay.
I think it's
Is Ex Hoarder with them on that one too?
no.
Okay.
I think it's them High on. I honestly think it might just be that. There might be an opener. I don't remember. But that's the rotation.
Was I Hate God on any of those ones?
I mean, if you kill time, I could find out.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, I don't remember. But I when I saw that Iowa one, but I got told even by a buddy because I couldn't believe how. You know how this music is, right? Nobody sells out in this type of music big venues. So when I saw Acid Bath selling out big venues, I was like, holy shit! And so I had a buddy of mine get ticket to the Illinois show, and he texted me couple hours later and he goes, "You better get tickets tonight. I'll bet you they're sold out tomorrow." I'm like, no way. That venue's
27 years though.
But that venue's like 3,000 people.
Right.
I was like, it's Acid Bath. No way. So that night I texted my buddy. I'm like, "Hey man, are you in?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, I'll score us tickets. We'll go." I woke up the next morning, fuckers sold out. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I'm like, I understand it's 30 years, but it's amazing. Like good for them that they're pulling this big a crowd.
Now, dude, I went to Lafayette, Louisiana, and Hattiesburg, Mississippi, to see Dax on his Dead Boy in the Elephant Man. Now, this is before he just did the one what is it?
Weed Eaters, my opener.
Oh, nice, good. That's a good band. Dude.
That's a good. Yeah, I've seen them live before. They're good.
Yeah, they kill, dude. But I went down to New Orleans or Louisiana to see Dax play because he never came up here. You know what I'm saying? And it was my roommate and I. We were just talking and like, dude, let's get in the truck. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "Dax is playing in Hattiesburg. Let's go."
Yeah.
And he goes, "You serious?" So we drove 21 hours down there to see those guys.
Awesome.
Now, when I went down there, I told him, I go, "Dude, so many people." And I was expecting Agents of Oblivion songs. I was expecting, old Acid Bath songs, even Bones of Baby Dolls, anything slow and chill, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like when he was like, "Yeah, I don't do any of that stuff," I was happy with it because I loved Dead Boy and the Elephant Man, but 2 nights of it and then talking to him and then my bands had played with Goat Whore before, so I got to meet Sammy and talk to Sammy and like, hang out with him, and I never ever thought it was going to happen ever again. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Now when that fucker was across the damn hallway, and I say fucker because he knew about all this shit, and he was just like, you guys just pay attention. You know what I mean?
Just watch the onlines.
But he was like, he just kind of,
yeah,
it's no big deal. Yeah. Well, maybe, he did say that him and Mike were working on some stuff. Mike and I are working on some things. We're talking about doing this, and that. And I was super stoked about that. I was like, oh my God, these two together again. Whatever those two create is going to be amazing. You know what I mean? They are fantastic guitar players.
Yeah.
So when they announced those first couple,
well, and I think all of us as metalheads, because of course they announced like LA, right?
Yeah.
And they announced like 2 fests, maybe big ones.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that they were going to go to Chicago and Des Moines.
No.
That was not on the plan.
No.
That's why when I saw the Chicago, I'm like, I'm a younger metal fan, right?
Sure.
So like I didn't live through any of that.
Are you trying the new one yet?
But I understand the importance of Acid Bath,
right?
Which is why I'm like, I got to go just for that.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm not like a huge fan, because I didn't grow up with Acid Bath, but I understand. And the fact that they kept announcing these random shows, I don't think anybody expected it.
No.
So that's
I didn't.
No, I
was
couldn't
like,
believe it.
I thought I was going to miss them because of I just couldn't do any of those festivals. I wanted to take I
Yeah.
wanted to jump in my camper and drive my camper out to Indiana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wanted to camp my way over there just to see them.
Well, and so because of our proximity to Milwaukee,
Yeah.
I've hit the new Milwaukee Metal Fest every
Yeah.
year, which is fine. I know all the people we were like, they're gonna hit Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And then they announced, I think that's about the same time, right?
Yeah.
Maybe same weekend.
Oh,
like
June 6th.
Milwaukee's like mid-May, but they're somewhere around there.
Okay.
And so everybody was like, well, that cuts them out for that. And I was like, shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, if it was in Milwaukee, that'd be even better at the rave.
I wouldn't have
like,
went there. I wouldn't
the
have seen
raves. The raves the worst, but it's fine.
I'm from Milwaukee.
It's
so
the
I can tell you.
worst.
I
That's the
played there a
worst.
few times.
That's
I know.
Horrible.
Yeah.
$15 Miller
I've
Lite,
passed
man.
out at the rave.
Oh, really?
Seeing Mo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw 6 Feet Under in the rave bar. A long time ago.
What?
That's actually
Hang
probably
on.
That's probably the only death metal show I went to.
What? You saw 6 feet under at the rave?
I saw 6
Hang
Feet
on.
Under at
Let's
the rave
back it
bar,
up.
Probably when I was 18 or 19.
What?
See,
Wait a minute.
that was-
See, he's that chick who says, I've never done this before. And
Yeah,
then
wait
then
a
all of
minute.
sudden,
I've known
I'll
you
say this.
6 years and you've never
I went-
said this
I went
happened.
to Ozfest 97, 98,
Oh, yeah, I knew
99.
that.
I went to
Okay.
Family Values Tour. I
All
seen
right.
Tool a bunch.
so you've seen some shit?
I just never seen. I guess 6 Feet Under would be
Oh, my God.
the only death metal show I went to.
What year would that have been?
It was at the rave bar, the tiny little side thing. I must have been 18 or 19, and I'm 42 now, so
Okay.
99,
Interesting.
2000 or something. Yeah.
Interesting. Before Chris Barnes blew his vocal cords out?
He passed a joint around in the crowd, and I was like,
Oh,
this is amazing.
that
So
adds
I was very young. Yeah,
That
yeah.
adds up.
Long time ago. so-
Didn't he almost get beat up out in front of the station for like asking somebody for papers and then was a total dick to him?
Yeah, I heard that story. Yeah,
Rude.
Like they chased him back to his bus and he didn't come back out until he
Yeah.
went on stage or something.
he's all sober now. Doesn't smoke weed.
Yeah,
doesn't drink, nothing.
did you watch any of that interview he
Yeah, I
did?
did. Yep.
It was interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because it was interesting seeing him be okay in a way. Like, right?
Yeah. Did you hear telling the story about his mom and the poem and all that shit?
Yes. I
Dude,
did.
that was kind of. It was like all sweet, and then all of a sudden it just takes this left turn.
Yeah, well, that's Chris Barnes.
Like, how real is this story?
I know.
And then he's talking about sobriety, and then I don't know if it's been that podcast. They must have a sponsorship or whatever, but he's talking about sobriety. I'm looking to his right is a can of Heineken.
Of course. Just when you think it ends, it doesn't.
But
It
the
doesn't.
rave is good and bad. The rave is there.
The rave is there.
It's there. Yeah.
The rave is there. We mentioned Milwaukee Metal Fest. That's how we got on the rave.
Well, when I lived in Milwaukee, I seen Cannibal Corpse creator there.
Which tour creator?
2008. No, it was
way
2008.
later.
Yeah, Fisher was in the band, and Jess, my wife, I had never brought her to a death metal show before. We were all up front for creator and all that, and I'm like, we probably want to go to the side a little bit. It's gonna get kind of rowdy here. And she's like, no, we're fine. I'm like, you sure, honey?
Fucking Jess, yes.
Dude, immediately Cannibal Corpse came on, hit the first note. The place just fucking exploded, and she's like, yep, let's go. We're in the back of the venue watching from there.
I love it. Oh, Jess actually said something in the chat too. She said that she's not a big beer drinker, but every time she goes to your
She
brewery,
does.
she says that I've had one that was really good and the staff was very helpful. She said that every time she goes there, she tries to have at least one.
Well, I have
Oh.
a root beer for you to take home.
There you go.
Yeah, I got a
Oh,
job.
the root beer's good.
What is that blue your brew that they drink? Sorry, I missed that. That was what was it? A cranberry?
Oh, the one we just had?
Yeah, yep.
The one we just had was Ramblin' Rose Cranberry Weiss.
Okay.
And we
yeah.
do a cranberry ginger ale as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And we just did, oh my God, we just did hardcore wrestling at the brewery.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, we
So-
can.
I'm still
Oh,
in shock.
we
I don't even know
can.
if I can talk
Yeah.
about it. Dustyn,
Without a ring, right?
we had
There's no rope.
no ring, no
No
rules,
Yeah.
and we had 3 bands. We did
Bludgeon was there, right? That was the
Bludgeon was the
show.
headliner, yeah.
Perfect.
and they
Perfect
they
name
played
for
it-
the
they
what
played
we
it-
saw prior.
They played at the
so.
very end. So we had Justice Son open up, which was he's a solo local guy. He's awesome.
He's from Menomonie. He's an industrial guy. I don't know
And-
if you've seen him at any shows that you've been on.
Maybe. I don't
He's
know
a good
if
dude,
I-
though. He's a big supporter of what we do, and he has cool stuff, cool industrial solo, cool shit.
And we put the stage in the corner. We had to clear the entire room out, like more than a normal show. Moved the pool table outside, and I didn't understand what hardcore wrestling is. I get it, but it was it's 4 matches, and they were all hardcore. So it was Justice Son opening 2 matches, and then
Better Broken,
Better
was on,
Broken,
which you guys just had them on, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
and then
We like them guys. Them guys are great.
They're good dudes.
2 wrestling matches, and then after all the chaos, Bludgeon played, and there's
On
literally
top
blood,
of
and
blood.
glass everywhere.
There was
On a pile
blood
of blood.
everywhere.
And the cleanup was wild.
Cleanup was wild.
It was
wasn't-
good, though. Everyone
it was
loved
awesome.
it. I just realized I don't know what it is, but every time I watched, I was like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah,
and I
it's
own
wild.
a building. So I liked it, but I was kind of the
Well-
anxiety was high. But
Well-
everyone had the best.
Dude,
in
but
the world,
the fans were
so
blood. They
loved it.
were into it.
Now I
maybe-
can imagine as a brewer standpoint and as a businessman standpoint, you're like, holy shit, this is biological chaos.
Chaos.
You know what I mean? Like
Not
I
my
would
world.
go,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
and
for like 4 hours.
yeah, we have to give the guy Jason Peterson's the guy who runs the wrestling. I only did the couple bands, and
yeah.
again, it was another one of the things goes back to the Mabel where I was like, I need a couple bands that are cool with going with the flow.
Yeah.
And because like we don't really know what we're doing, like we don't know what's happening.
And shout out
Yeah.
to Jason. He
Yeah, Jason did a killer job, but it's going, and I'm a big pro wrestling guy, so like I get what death matching is over John. So like I was prepared for what I saw.
Yeah.
But it's good when Jason, the promoter of the wrestling, walks up to me and goes, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I'm like, "Sure, what's that?" He goes, "I need you to get me lighter fluid." And I was like, "What kind?" I'm like, "Lighter fluid." He goes, "But not in the normal bottles. They need to be in a yellow bottle because then they don't burn as long." So I had to go to Walmart and find this
The blue
small.
yellow ones?
The yellow-
it's like
yellow-
a little
yellow.
yellow.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't
Knots it off.
it doesn't attach as hard. And so yes, they put it
like,
on
"I'm going to
they
Walmart
put
to
it
get
on
yellow
a
film." I'm
door.
like, "Oh,
They put
man,
it on a
really?"
door outside, lit it on fire, dropped a guy through
John,
it.
how did you feel about that, John? Were you just like, holy shit?
So we have solar panels now. So my concern was just make the flame low and smash that man on that flaming table.
Make that man put
He's
that
like, we're
flame
doing
out.
because once the ball gets rolling,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to stop you. Just do your best to keep it. Whatever. Like you guys are doing your thing. You have to trust people at some point. So I just trusted them, and there was just glass everywhere.
Holy
But
shit.
it all
was
got it all got
wild.
cleaned up. It seems like such chaos.
Yeah.
And then it just all gets cleaned up, and it's all good.
I think
but
we had one wrestler go to the ER, right, for stitches.
No, we didn't.
Oh no.
Oh no, we didn't.
That's
That was
awesome.
just a myth and a
Yeah, yeah.
story.
No,
That
no,
never happened.
I don't think so.
What
don't
was
think that
the
happened.
what was the turnout variation between like
It was
wrestling
sold
fans
out.
and
It
metal
was
fans?
It was sold
crazy.
out.
Okay.
It was
sold
almost
out.
all wrestling.
It was almost all
Yeah,
wrestling fans.
I
Okay.
did. I will admit, Bludgeon, great crew, and they're awesome.
Yeah.
I will admit, I was a little surprised because when you don't have a ring, the wrestling goes by pretty quick, right? Because there's only so
Yeah,
much you can do.
Yeah.
So the show was going really fast. So actually, Better Broken, we were thinking we were gonna have to force them on stage, but we were like, oh, there's some time in here. So we were like, kind of take your time. We'll stretch this a bit.
Yeah.
And the promoter wanted it stretched too because it went so quick. So when the other two matches went, those two matches were way more violent than the first few.
Yeesh.
So when Bludgeon went on, I was actually we were, you don't know it until you do it.
I love it.
But we were surprised at how few people were left.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought there'd be a good mix, right? Like,
Right, yeah.
because I know how well pro wrestling and metal really do go together. They're very similar.
Right.
You can't
But-
finish with metal because the wrestling's over. So there were still people hanging out.
There
but
was just
it
not
like
very
the
many.
aftermath.
It was like and again, anybody who comes to our shows, we have a good base, right? Like,
Right.
this, you know how it is.
Yep.
Same 25 faces. We love them. They're our favorite people because they support us, and we are their venue, which is John specifically, who owns the place. It's wild to us that somebody feels like Zymurgy's their venue, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And we have those people were left. Everybody else was gone. And
But we've
so,
done-
but that's live and learn. We
We've
didn't
done
know.
the one Zymurderfest where we did have 10 bands on a hot day. You have to be smart. People get tired. I forgot who finished.
I think it was them.
It might have been, but it's one of those things where if it's 90 degrees at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., you don't want to start at noon.
Yeah.
If you have a band going till midnight.
Yeah,
So,
and it was exhausting because
Yeah.
it is. I mean, that one hardcore match. I mean, guys, it was
I don't
fucking
even know.
wild.
I'm still recovering.
Dude, it was wild.
3
Like,
weeks
I
in a
can
row.
understand like sitting through 2 or 3 matches of that. Well, I mean, we were there watching Better Broken, in their type of hardcore ish death metal that they
right.
do,
Yeah.
which is perfect for that venue, right?
Yeah.
Like that group. And then sitting through this fire, light tubes, barbed wire, and then sitting through full light tubes when these guys have crosses of light tubes, like being exhausted.
Yeah.
So like by the time it hits 10:30 and Bludgeon goes on, even if they're only playing a half hour, which I think is all they did,
Yeah.
even I was like, I could see how people want to go home.
The
Right.
cleanup,
'Cause
crew, the
it's-
cleanup crew is like
Yeah, and that
pushing
didn't help
glass-
either. We're like pushing glass so people could sit near the
glass
stage.
and blood,
Like
glass and
the
blood.
bludgeon, those dudes deserve a high
If you-
five for
if you
hanging
go to
out
the
with
Zymurgy
us.
Oh yeah,
page,
dude.
or
They've
if
been
you
around.
go-
They've been around a long time.
Yeah, they're awesome. Great,
Yeah.
no, more great folks.
And that's Jason Peterson. Is at ICW North.
North. Yep.
If you go to their page, I posted some pictures because we have a beautiful floor at the brewery. It's like
Yeah.
it looks like the Pink Floyd metal album. It's like blue and
Nice.
stained. So blood on that actually looks kind of cool.
It did look kind of
So-
good. The grossest thing was, and the grossest thing was, is John and I messaged after, and we were like, that was wild, but very successful. Was about 10, 11 o'clock the next morning. John messaged me. He's like, I'm back in the brewery to clean up. He goes, I opened the door and it smells like blood in here, and I'm like, oh.
I had some helpers in the morning, and she works in like the health industry. She's
Yeah.
like, let's open the doors. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Man.
But just not like upset. Just like this is just what happened. Like this is my world, I guess now.
That's a whole new jam right there. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, were you wearing that shirt? Because it's kind of like
Yeah, oh,
being at
yeah.
a gore show,
Yeah.
man. You know what I mean?
tie
Like-
dye white death metal shirts. So
yeah, hell yeah, dude. I've done that a couple times myself for a couple friends actually.
nice. Hell yeah.
I started tie dyeing not too long ago and really went fucking crazy with it.
I've
you
been
did.
wanting
Sold
to
quite
do
a
the
few.
bleach dyeing too.
He waits for a white death metal shirt. That's what he's aiming
I've been
for.
wanting to do. Andy Richter, he was talking about bleach metalling at our 420 hippie show we just had, which I've never done that because I probably now have 25 black death metal
Right.
shirts and
Right.
only
Welcome to
3
the
of
club.
these. It's because I own a venue for sure. Yeah.
I own like maybe 5 or 6 regular colored
Yeah, I
shirts.
know, right?
That's it, dude. And they're all tie dye, pretty much. You know what I mean? It goes from nothing to like what crazy tie dye. So
nice.
so tell us about this one here. Now this is the one you just released, correct?
Yep. So this is Bone Mother 7.7.
You could tell.
And this is a German Weiss yeast strain. This has chocolate malt in it, chocolate rye, which isn't chocolate. It's just roasted to chocolatiness.
Yeah.
Barley, and then the rye, and then there's Pilsner in it. There's regular wheat in it as well.
There's like a nutty flavor to this as well.
There's probably a big carameliness to it
Okay.
as well.
That makes sense.
And this is just our new house German yeast strain that makes our Fluffhead, the Ramblin' Rose, and Crazy Fingers. And I just needed to. It's not a kitchen sink beer, but I needed to keep using the yeast strain, and we had all this different malt.
Yeah.
So we just kind of whipped up a one-time recipe, and I love Casket Robbery, and I was just looking honestly for good song names that weren't hippie song names, and Bone Mother is just great. So Bone Mother, dark rye, chocolate rye, German Weiss.
That's a
And
really good beer.
we just
man.
put it on tap today. We have cans of it at the brewery. We always have to-go stuff at the brewery, but
Very
yeah,
cool.
this went on tap today, so it'll be on tap for like 2 months, something like that.
And then this one is done. Is this a one and done, or you may go back to it depending on how
We'll
it's
see how quick we sell it if people show up and drink the hell out of it. There's like 11 grains in it. I can make it again. I
It's
did take my notes.
So you have to. So how many beers have you done?
Oh,
like
man.
just in Zymurgy? How many have you done there?
If you look at the beer board, we used to have 17 taps.
Okay.
And we went to 15.
Okay.
So it's a little bit all over the place, but gosh, we always have 5 or 6 flagships.
Okay.
So we have 5 or 6 beers that have never gone away.
What and which ones are those?
Afternoon Joe, which is like a coffee blonde.
Ooh,
Um,
I was going to ask you
Dude,
about
that
that
thing
one
rocks.
because he
One of my
said if
favorites.
there's anything that you see, and that one was way up
Yeah.
at the
That
top.
one's awesome.
That's usually
And I
always
figured
number
that
one,
he
yeah.
would like that because he likes a lighter beer. So I figured,
Yeah.
oh,
Are you a
he
coffee
might
guy,
like
Rob?
I am a big
Oh,
coffee
that's
guy,
your
yeah.
that's your. Have you had that there?
I'm not sure if I have or not.
Next time
You'll like
around,
it.
for sure. And then Terry Porter, which is just a porter. Fluffhead Weiss beer. We've had a version of Ramblin' Rose. We used to have Toast Brown Ale, which coincides with Crazy Fingers Dunkel Weiss. We always have Talisman or Marzana on tap, which is our big Russian Imperial Stout or our big English barley wine.
What's the Talisman one?
That is a big barrel-aged English barley wine as well.
Okay, so that's a strong one.
That sits around
Um,
like what, 13,
that,
15?
that and the Marzana are always between 13 and 16.
And you
then-
said you drink the IPA that we were. That's
Yeah,
the one you like to drink because it's low ABV.
And
it-
EC3's been on tap for 2 years now.
Okay.
So that one's a flagship now, I guess.
and you say you like to drink that one through the show, and then at the end you jump to the Talisman. You said.
I'll say as soon as the first band's done, then I'll drink Talisman. Because I'll say this, I used to get because we've had different sound people, and I used to get nervous just hosting shows. Like, is everything going to go well?
Yeah.
But now the day of the show, you've done all you can promote all you can. So I just wouldn't. I'd be careful. Like, all right, as soon as this first band plays and it sounds good,
Then you know it's
now
on
I
its
can
way.
relax.
Yeah,
now I
yeah.
can have some talisman, and I can walk home from the brewery.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
best part of all of it.
And then we
You can
do
walk
a
home.
seltzer. Right now we have 4 things that are NA on tap. We have a Delta 9 THC drink.
Oh, nice.
We have a caffeinated cream ale that we made for the
Yeah.
wrestling match. Cranberry ginger ale and root beer. So it's kind of a hodgepodge. If you look in the cooler, it's all over the
So how is it to brew a root beer? Is it tough or is it?
I've been doing it my whole career.
No shit.
I don't even drink root beer really. So it's just sugar, water, just good sugar, good filtered water, root beer extract,
Okay.
and then we get clear vanilla from Mexico.
Okay.
That's like one extra thing.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then preservatives. If it has to sit on the shelf, you got to add some kind of preservative.
Right.
And then you just keep it clean, but it doesn't ferment. So you just carbonate that, and then you just
Let it rip.
put it right in the can. Or
Oh,
put it
shit.
Right in the keg. Yeah.
I
So
love root beer
we
too.
are going to be doing 16-ounce cans of root beer soon too. So
Nice.
right now, I brought growlers today, but we do 25-ounce cans. We sell
Fannies,
that.
right?
Yeah, like the
big-
big ones. Yeah, and we do
What
that.
are those called crowlers?
What's it called? The glass is a growler,
Growler, right?
and a can's a crowler.
Yep.
And we sell those at the Menomonie Co-op in Menomonie and Eau Claire, but you can only sell so much of those. And we've been trying for years to get our root beer into 16-ounce cans.
Yeah.
So hopefully, we actually just sent our root beer out for testing this week.
Nice.
So we'll get that into 16-ounce cans soon, followed by like a few beers. Yeah.
Badass, man. Very
Yeah.
cool. Now, do you have a canning spot or canning deal at your?
We have a seamer that does the crowlers,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna get a seamer and we're gonna fill them after brewing for 19 years, one at a time. And I've worked on bottling lines.
Yeah.
I've worked on canning lines, so it'll be. There's nothing more boring than canning for 8 hours straight.
You're
yeah.
wiping cans.
Yeah,
fucking-
exactly.
dude, I watch videos because I wanted to buy one.
It's
I'm like,
Very repetitive.
I'm really into this brewing thing, and I'm like, I'll buy one of those. And I'm like, nah,
If
you
you
know,
ever
it's
want
a lot
to
of
come
work.
by and hang out and can root beer and beer with
Yeah.
us,
fuck yeah, I do. That'd be
it's
great.
just I've done it. It's just repetitive. So it's as long as you got a good company,
Yeah.
listen to music, listen to podcasts. You know, we'll fill. At some point, I'm going to build something where we fill 2 at a time, and we just seam 1 at a time, and
Yeah.
just bust out as much as we can.
Oh yeah,
You know, a couple hundred cans at a time. and-
that'd be so much fun, man.
yeah.
Absolute blast, man. I don't know, man. I went to like so we're in Milwaukee and we went to the Pabst Brewery, but it was like the spot where it's in like an old building.
Yeah.
It's like their
So cool.
test area.
Been there.
Have
yeah.
you been there?
I know
It's like
Pabst.
a white church, like it looks like a fucking old gymnasium or something. We went there when the priest was tapping the keg for Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah.
So he did like a Marzen keg, you know? So he
Yeah.
popped it, and so we went on the tour, right? It was me, Gooch, and Stark. We went downstairs. We saw all the gear they had. They talked about all the. They
Yeah,
did the.
nice.
It was like the coffee chocolate beer before it was released
Okay.
out in the
Yeah.
wild. They were doing it there, and so we got to taste all that. So we go through the whole tour, and we're talking to this guy, and the brewmaster is literally fucking 23 years, 24, 25 years old. So he's super young, and we're just looking at each other going, this dude knows all of this about beer? Like, holy shit, you know? We go through the whole tour. We go upstairs, and the priest guy comes over, and he goes, oh, there they are. Hey, man, nobody's drinking that free beer up there. You can drink all of that Oktoberfest you
Of
want.
course,
And,
yeah.
dude, we got smashed, dude. Dude lost his keys in the Uber. It was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah,
It was a good
that's
time.
good to hear.
And we were just like
That's good.
talking people out of the swag. They had like, we got extra cups, we got extra fucking
Yeah,
shirts,
yeah.
we got
Yeah.
just schmoozing and talking shit.
Have you ever been to a beer festival?
I have not.
Oh, they're my
Yeah,
favorite.
Yeah, I've done a bunch. Yeah,
Really?
it's fun. Yeah.
They're great. If you want to go, there's a lot of good ones. Or I don't know. Does Minnesota even have beer? They have a Minnesota Beer Fest, don't they?
They have small ones, big ones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
I've been
They're all
invited
over.
a
You
couple
just have to
different
look
times.
'em up.
My buddy Joe goes to those all the time, and he's invited me a few times. I just haven't had a chance. I know Gooch has gone to a couple, and he said it's just like you get a little glass.
Yeah,
got
but
it
you
around
can
your
get,
finger.
so
all
much.
you can
Yeah.
drink for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they
for
get
like
messy. They
80
can get
bucks,
messy.
you can drink for 4 straight hours and have 40 different breweries. It's
40,
all
40,
those things
40 bucks.
rock. Oh really?
40, 50 bucks
Wow.
normally. Yeah.
Wow.
It can get messy.
Sick, dude.
And I'm always working them. So
Now,
Yeah.
Rob, what do you think of that stuff?
This is pretty good. I like it. I like it leaves a little almost like chocolatey taste on the back of the tongue
Yeah.
that lingers, which is kind of nice.
I taste the caramel, and I taste like a nutty flavor to it on the end of it.
So I'm gonna just do the thing since he can't. What's your favorite of the three between the two of you?
Ooh.
So now he can remember. It's okay. He won't hurt his feelings.
Now, again, if I was drinking a lot in one night, it would be the IPA, and I'm not a big IPA. But
Dude, I love that. Easy 3Z is great.
If I could get that on tap, I would smash that pretty much all night. Now, at the end of the night, I would take the last one because that's the one that fucking would set me right where I needed to be.
Yep.
It's strong. I'd fucking have one, and I'd be like, all right, now I'm going to get behind the wheel. And no,
we call that nightcap. Then you put your nightcap on. Like
that's
that.
that. Well, you get to that point where you're like, all right, it's a full flavored one. I could never reverse them. I could never do the full flavor and then go to the IPA. I could
See,
never do it.
that's exactly how I'm.
Really?
He knows. But when I get to the shows, like I'll roll into Zymurgy when bands are loading in. The first thing I have to have is whatever like the 16% is, because then it loosens me up for the rest of the evening.
And then usually you just ask.
And then I do easy stuff the rest of the
So
night.
then
I'm
you-
like the reverse.
Now,
I want that immediate like little
Gotcha,
buzz.
gotcha.
Because then it kind of gets, because I agree with him. My only nerves of the shows are that first hour.
It's real. Yeah.
It's that like it's like the half hour with bands are getting there, we're getting the merch set, getting the sound set, and because we are who we are, we're a disaster, but in the cutest ways. We're still like half trying to get our sound set up, and like I'm checking with our sound people, like, hey, we're cool, right? And then doors open, and then the first band, and I'm still trying to figure out merch.
Yeah.
That hour, I'm like, if I can have a tiny buzz, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And then once it hits, like
it's
I'm like
always
John.
fun.
Once
Always fun.
see, he waits for the first band. Second that first band starts, within 2 seconds, I'm like, now it's out of my hands. The show is on. Doesn't
That's
matter.
a good way to look at it.
It doesn't matter at that point.
I've never been like, yeah.
Well, you never know.
Well, and
Until the first band plays like 2-3 songs.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even
then you
care.
get it, yeah.
Second the first band starts,
No,
you
you
know what?
don't.
And John knows this. We
Yeah.
both say it is we never want to learn sound because then we're going to be forced to do it.
I thought about it for a second.
So we
Don't
don't.
do it.
No,
We
no,
don't
no.
do it.
I
So
would
him and
love
I
to.
have
Well,
6
what do you
years
think
in. We
about
have
it?
stayed oblivious, which may be
I
a
would love
positive
to,
and
dude.
a negative to what we do. Is we don't want to know, because if we have to do it, then we're expected, and we would much rather get somebody else who knows it better than we
The
do.
worst part about it is when you start doing sound and you start learning sound,
You depend-
that
you-
nobody else can do sound because you're
100%.
like, wait a minute, hold on here. I can make it sound
That's-
better than that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Dude, that's Jordan. That was Jordan.
That was Jordan.
So
that was
so,
a lot
so
of people.
My
yeah.
my normal co-host Jordan. Jordan Swanson. He is one of those cats that he was the sound guy. You know what I mean? Like my pal does sound now. You know what I'm saying? And he started on like an analog deal. You know what I'm saying? And then when I started booking at Lee's Liquor Lounge, they had the Behringer 32 that's just all automated, just craziness. You know what I'm saying? Like it you can run it from a
iPad.
tablet and all of that shit.
Yeah.
So he's moving around the whole place. But the guy, and we've talked about this many times on the podcast, the guy comes in, he doesn't know the board, like rewires everything, learns the board, leaves, and saves all of his settings, comes back, and they're all gone. So he's panicked, right?
Yeah.
So now Anthony comes in, Anthony shows him. Now Anthony's the guy who tours with all these big bands, comes in and shows how to do it. Here, watch this. They all go back to where they were. He comes back because he's like, I'm going to research all of this shit. Comes back, and the room is just, the manager's going, dude, tell him to turn it down.
Yeah.
We're going to have, the shit's falling off the fucking shelves.
Yeah.
All the Elvises, you know what I'm talking about? Then all this like stupid, Elvises all over the place. And he's like, dude, we broke 2 Elvises. You got to get him to turn it down. Like, this guy's going to lose his shit. Like, he was pissed, man.
Love it.
Yeah. So that's what he did with Club Underground. You know, he came in and not that the sound guy was bad, but it was like knowing that sound in metal and death metal and shit like that.
It's
you knew enough.
tough. Like that's the thing that we've learned too, and that's the reason our main guy Cole, who I think the bands now that come through, when we have Cole, they feel extremely good because they know he is not gonna mess up. He's again, he's only 21, but
He's
the dude's
never
trustworthy. He's never done this.
None of our sound people have ever done sound for death metal.
Right.
Ever.
It is usually how
Cole's
it's a
never
learning
done.
curve, you know,
Yeah,
and
Cole's
that's
done
what
it.
we always say to people, and that's the reason why John and I are like, you know what? If we get stuck doing this, we're gonna do it. I don't want to do it.
Dude.
He doesn't want to do it. I'm sorry.
From that point on, dude, it becomes a job. It's not fun.
It's
anymore.
not fun
I like
anymore.
new hobbies, and then I mean,
No.
I only looked into it for 1 second.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I don't
horrible.
even understand feedback.
Yeah.
and
I tell every-
I'm already over it.
I tell every
And
band.
we both have enough to do already.
Yeah,
Like,
Right.
exactly.
If I was doing sound, we're both the answer man for
Yeah.
where is this, where's the duct,
Yeah.
where's this.
Yeah, it's
It
horrible.
wouldn't be fair. for me to think.
Well,
could do
and because you'd be answering questions from the bands and other people coming up to you while you're trying to do that job.
Yeah.
Too.
yeah,
Going up.
it wouldn't work.
Well, and it's enough to where bands ask me, metal bands are pretty anal about their sound. They just are.
Yeah.
So I have bands all the time come to me like, hey, can we do this? I'm like, dude, I do me and John do everything.
Yeah.
This is our one out.
Yeah.
Like, we can't go talk to that guy. I point right at him like, please don't talk to me about this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't want to know what you're talking
It's just
about.
like someone speaking Chinese.
I mean, and I'm a huge, and I always say this, like, I'm a huge metalhead. I really am.
Yeah.
I've been listening to it since I was 10, when my mom bought me a Deicide album when I was 10 years old that was blacked out at FYE. That happened. But I'm still one of the metalheads. I'm not intricate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know if your guitar's turned down too low unless it's really low.
Yeah.
But like half the time I'm like, I don't like a band will come to me like, yeah, our bass couldn't hear our bass. I'm like, really? I had no fucking idea. It sounded fine to me. I don't know what your bass sounds like.
Right.
And I try to tell, like, and then that's
Well,
like
it's usually because the people in the crowd are like, dude, they didn't make you sound that good, and blah, blah, you know what I mean?
That's usually why.
Because for some reason they're used to listening to them in their fucking car all the way to the show.
Which is way different.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And we have the equipment where we have it. We have the soundboard where we have it.
Yeah.
Like, we keep trying to finance things.
We're doing
Get like
we're
a
doing
snake,
okay.
But yeah, we do what we can.
So this is something I like to ask people all the time when it comes to the show is like, what were you listening to as a kid? What were your mom and dad listening to, and how did you get on the track of being in the death metal shit?
So I alluded to it. So I grew up country music,
Yeah.
Hank Williams Jr., Alabama, all that stuff. I still remember the story I tell, which I still give my mom a lot of credit for. I had Rob Zombie's Hellbelly Deluxe at 9,
Mhm.
and I thought that was the craziest shit I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
I remember the CD had like a bunch of like Universal Monster faces, and I remember opening my CD holder, and I thought it was the craziest stuff I ever heard.
That was all his artwork at that time.
Yeah,
right?
and it was awesome, like Dragula and Super Beast, and I was like, my mind was blown at 10 years old. Like, I was like, what is this music? My sister's 10 years older than me. She's MTV era. She loved Marilyn Manson. She loved Insane Clown Posse. So like I kind of got some of it. But the real thing is one time I went, and again, I'm aging myself a little bit. I'm only 36. I went to a Hot Topic, and they used to sell compilation albums. Remember that? Where it's like, here's 40 bands for $4, right?
Yep.
And it was it was Headbangers Ball, which obviously I knew from MTV2, right?
Right.
And the first album was Kill Switch Engage. You know.
Yep.
It's that type, In Flames,
Yep.
right?
I was gonna say.
But the second album was Agoraphobic Nosebleed, Dying Fetus, and all this shit that I had never heard before in my life. And I remember putting the second album on and clicking through, and I remember like I'm sure we were all at that point at some point of like, what the fuck is this? But Deicide's Scars of the Crucifix was on that. And Glenn Benton's voice in that song, even though it's completely ridiculous now that I'm older. But at the time, I think that was 2003-ish, 2004. So I was 13. I remember thinking that was the heaviest, craziest, most insane thing I'd ever heard. And I loved it. So I told my mom, I'm like, we got to go to FYE. I need to buy CDs. I remember the first 3 CDs she ever bought me. It was Scars of the Crucifix, because obviously that was the song. She bought me Once Upon the Cross.
Oh, yeah.
And then she bought me Cattle Decapitation's To Serve Man.
Right.
And I took them home, and I remember the conversation we had, and this is still the number one thing I'll ever give my mom ever, and she knows it, is she looked at me and she goes, because people, of course I was 13, so people around me were like, why you're buying your son that stuff?
That's super.
That's satanic. He's going to shoot the school up. Like, that's what they would say to my mom.
Yeah,
Like, he's scary. And my mom goes, I remember liking Black Sabbath in the 70s.
Your
and
mom
wearing,
said that?
Yep.
Nice.
She goes, I had every Black Sabbath, like vinyl or whatever the fuck you want to call them. And
8-track.
and she said she remembers the day she wore a Disco Sucks shirt into my grandpa's house. And
nice.
that was a fucking fight, because she hated disco.
Yeah.
She was the worst thing ever, and Black Sabbath was what it was.
Yeah.
And she goes, that's what I considered this. You thought this was better than the bullshit that was out there. So every Mother's Day, that's
awesome.
that's the text I send her. I'm like, thank you for allowing me to buy an album where the CD had a black sticker on it, because you couldn't see Once Upon the Cross or To Serve Man's album cover. Remember those days?
Yeah.
So that's how I, and then after that, that was Welcome down the fucking rabbit hole. Here we are.
Hell yeah. How about you, sir?
Well, my first concert, which we should all say what our first concert
Yeah. That,
was.
Ooh, okay.
Weird Al Yankovic.
oh, there you go.
hey.
Nice.
At the Wisconsin State Fair. And then Smashing Pumpkins when I was 15.
There you go.
And then
Siamese Dream?
it was the Infinite Sadness Tour.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh.
at the Bradley Center, which is now the Pfizer Forum. But my parents listened to like Motown and like very chill music. My parents are in their 70s now, so I wasn't a Marilyn Manson kid, but I liked Nine Inch Nails. I liked industrial music, and at a pretty young age.
Yeah.
And then I got to do Ozfest 97, 98, 99. Apparently, I went and saw 6 Feet Under. I forgot about that. But when my brother listened to like gangster rap,
Yeah.
I have older siblings, and so it was gangster rap and like Pantera and that kind of Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
And like Snot and like that kind of music. Cold
Yeah.
Chamber.
Yeah.
That's what I got into.
Big truck.
Big-
Cold Chamber for like a year was awesome.
Dude, they killed.
And then I got to see, I've been seeing live music a lot my whole life.
Yeah.
So just somewhere around 2001, 2003, I just went full hippie mode. And I only probably saw the heaviest thing I've seen for those 15 years be Tool, or that's it. And then I've seen Fish like 50 times.
Now, so let me ask you this, okay? So with the stuff that you've seen and going to the Fish style stuff, the jam style stuff, what drew you to that?
I like jazz and I like improvising. Okay. So I like when sets are different every night.
Right.
And I like the crowd as well. And me and my girlfriend have been doing it for years, but I like music festivals. So we used to go to a 3-day Grateful Dead music festival at a nudist campground in Black River Falls for years and years.
right,
It was one of the best things ever. And people could act however they want.
Yeah.
We were just kind of talking about merch earlier, but besides like death metal bands sending great merch, I like seeing fans sell tie-dyes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I like the difference every night. I can go see Mo or String Cheese Incident and Fish for 4 nights in a row, and it's going to be
All
a different show every night.
Yeah.
And I like improvising, even if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so the whole death metal scene is awesome. There's not that.
Yeah.
It's not structured completely, but it is. So that's actually what I like. I like to see the difference every single night.
Yeah.
And then it's people watching, man. You want to go to see people, the weirdest people on the planet. Go see some Grateful Dead.
Dude, the dancing shit though, man. Because I lived with fucking 3 Deadheads, and they would push that shit on me all the time. And the only thing that really got me about the whole jam thing, because I love improvisation, it was the trip. You know what I mean? Like we eat mushrooms or we do some acid and we'd have a good time.
Yeah,
and that was the point where it was like I could feel the vibe of that music. I could feel the synergy of that music when it came to that, you know? But beyond that, it loses me. I love jazz. I love things like that, but there's just
So the last thing I just did is I drove from Menomonie to Red Wing, took the train to Chicago, and I saw Bob Weir with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra for 2 nights.
Wow.
So, and by the way, on the way down, I had no clue they were playing with the symphony, and I did whatever I did that night. But insane, like, and so like that was another level. Like now I get to see, like I like that texture though. Yeah. But you got to be into it. If you know the songs, it's even better. But that was amazing. So, but as I get older, I don't like. There's no music I don't like.
Yeah.
Even because I like bluegrass, but popular country's pretty terrible. But as long as you're open to stuff, like it's all good. It's just, are the crowds good? How big is the venue?
You ever hear of William Elliott Whitmore?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, dude! I gotta turn you on to that before you leave. You just let me play a couple tunes of William Elliott Whitmore because it's country bluegrass style stuff. There's banjo. There's it's good. It's really good. But when I heard him, I thought he was a old black dude. You know what I mean? Just because of the soul in his voice and everything. When I saw him, he's from Iowa. He's tattooed white boy, just killing it, absolutely killing it. With one of those voices, just
give me that soul, give me that blues.
Dude, really gets it.
And the best thing for death metal for me is probably the drumming. When you talk about technicality, and if the sound is good or bad or whatever, you're always probably going to hear the drums. And just the double bass drums on some of these bands are wild. And then I guess because it is kind of information overload. When you do get the sound right, and I can hear the bass, I can hear guitar, I can hear the vocals, however they're pig squealing or screaming, and drums.
Right.
It sounds like chaos at first, but you're kind of right with Cole's been probably done 15, 16, 17 shows now, and it takes a while to do it, but
Yeah.
I just got away from heavy music when I was younger because it was just too aggressive.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Life change.
By 2001, 2, 3, I was like, death metal wasn't my scene. I like progressive metal and all the bands I mentioned before, and I didn't find them doing anything interesting.
Right.
So I went into the hippie realm.
Shit.
Which is
nothing wrong
always
with that.
evolving.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then Dustyn brought death metal back to me, I guess.
Well, and even me, for as much metal as I listen to, watching it live is way better.
Yeah.
So like now that I see so much between Zymurgy and all the other shows I go to, I don't listen to it near as much anymore either. I like kind of chill it out a little bit. And listen
What
to
do you
some
have
rock.
what do you guys have? Like, let's go around the table.
The random stuff.
What do you guys have in your playlist? What have you been listening to in the last month?
I asked Dustyn, I like doom metal.
Yes.
So in the morning time, I listen to lo-fi music, which is just...
Is this where we're going to say Bell Witch?
Yeah, I like Bell Witch a lot, actually. Because it's funny, there'll be an album that's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's 5 songs. But lo-fi music for me in the morning is just simple, low-tempo beat. And it helps me get through the first 4 or 5 hours of the day. Bell Witch is the same kind of thing. I can put that in the background. I kind of like low-tempo doom metal. So that's the last thing I played. I like kind of like
right?
I like stoner metal too. I like Mastodon and shit like that.
Yeah.
Stuff. Nothing super aggressive.
I would say mine. I mean, I'm a pretty tunnel vision guy. I pretty much listen to metal, but I try to listen to the variations too. I don't catch myself listening to I listened to the new Dustyn Tomb EP today because I bought the vinyl, which is sweet.
Yeah.
But I would say usually if I'm I'm in a chill mood, I listen to I love the goofy shit of metal too. I love Corpaclani and Ailstorm, like pirate metal. Like I don't know, it's dumb as fuck. But you know
pirate
what?
Metal is
but it's so
awesome.
But it's like I can have some beers and fuck off. Like Insephirum and folk metal. Like I like that stuff. You know why? Because it's kind of chill. And for a guy who listens to too much bullshit and gets in the weeds, which you guys both know of, getting in the weeds of metal and listening to freaking all this shit and I love it when I go on Spotify and I hear a band and I click on it. It says it has 17 listeners. And I'm like, I liked it. It's pretty sweet that this is cool. And then I'm like, but occasionally, I just put on some bullshit rock and metal and just kind of go with it. That's what I listen to. But yeah, I don't know. I try to stay up on the new stuff if I can, but metal's the most convoluted genre of all time too. So it's impossible.
Yeah.
Must have the most subgenres. I mean,
oh my God, it's unreal. And again, I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's hard. How many times does somebody send me a text? Did you hear this band? I'm like, never heard of them. I have no fucking clue. I know so many bands, but the new Pissgrave, that's awesome. But the amount of people, they're good. The amount of people that send me stuff, and I'm like, how would I don't know. There's 750,000 metal bands. I can't
every year.
And again, because of what we do, and then I'll let Rob go. I try to focus on the locals too. So it's either I focus on the main bands I like. And even I'm kind of getting over I remember growing up with Aborted and Nile and just loving them to death. And now kind of when they put albums out, I'm like, I'll listen to a few songs.
What was the first live show you
Oh yeah, that's right. We have to answer that first. I'll answer both. And then Rob's turn. All right. My first
think back.
My first main live show, I was a sophomore. It was Korn's Greatest Hits tour in 2005, which means they were been a band for 20 years since. But that was a real thing. Remember they came out with an album called Greatest Hits? They only had 4 albums out, and it was that was the album they released.
That was the fucking label trying to grab some cash right there.
So it was them, because I was a sophomore. I'd never thought of going to a show at that point, but I had a few buddies that were like, you should come see Korn. It was oh my God, the lineup is just ridiculous. It was Korn, Chevelle, Breaking Benjamin, and Skindred. That was the show. Remember Skindred?
Yes, I do. They were awesome.
They were
really cool.
The fucking coolest
I
band.
think they were pretty underrated.
Dude, I went when they told me, of course I was a Korn fan. I'm still not a Chevelle fan. I'm still not a Breaking Benjamin fan. I wasn't then either, really. That was when Chevelle had once. It was that Red, that song. God, that was all over.
I worked 2 of their shows, and I absolutely
they're super talented.
Shit. They killed it.
But they are talented. Even though I'm not a fan, I've seen them twice, both times. I'm like, these guys are good. Breaking Benjamin, even when I saw them then, I was like, this is not my type of music.
I've never really cared
But
for
Skindred opened that, and I knew that was that one. They had that one song that hit the radio.
I cannot remember.
No idea what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking, because of course the people I went with had no fucking clue who they were, and I'm like, they have a cool radio song. And I remember thinking that was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen with
I think I
Skindred.
actually opened for those guys one time.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw them also open. Okay, and then I'll let Rob speak because I'm just talking too much. You do, Rob.
I really want to find out
I
what
want to
their
find
two
out
first
too.
shows are. For sure.
The only other time I think I saw Skindred, and this is random, you guys probably know this, but remember Five Finger Death Punch started kind of because of Minneapolis, right? Because of 93X played their song when nobody else would. That was like a thing.
That was a Godsmack thing too.
It was it?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw, remember The Rock
Mhm.
in Maplewood?
Yeah.
Am I right?
You played there, right, Rob? You played
Played
there?
there a bunch of times.
Dude.
It's called the Doghouse.
Dude, that
Same
place-
venue, just new name.
That place was awesome.
It is
Still
still
is awesome.
I saw in the weirdest lineup I've almost ever seen. It was Five Finger Death Punch. They only had that one song on the radio. I don't remember what the first song was.
Me either.
But I liked Moto Grader.
Yeah.
So I liked,
They were fun.
dude, Moto Grader, that one album rocked.
Yeah.
And so I went and saw them. I didn't even know who they were. I just knew Ivan Moody was from Moto Grader, and I liked his voice in Moto Grader. So I was like, I'll go to this. It was Five Finger Death Punch, Shadows Fall,
Oh.
OTEP, and Skindred was the lineup. And I remember thinking, I'm going to go to see Skindred and Ivan Moody.
Yeah.
And then OTEP was there doing OTEP things. And then I'm like, oh, cool. I get to
Catching
see
wieners with her
Yeah, she's she's a wild. She's crazy.
Oh, dude.
And then I'm like, Shadows Falls here. Remember them?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
they were a thing for like
Dude, when
3
they
years.
came out, they were killer.
Dude, they were awesome. So yeah, that was my. All right, I'm done.
Oh,
All right.
Rob,
Well, so we need
what's Rob
first
listening
show,
to?
and what
What
was
was
the
your-
original question?
Just what is the first concert you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it was
Slayer and Testament, 1991.
Ooh,
Yeah. What venue was that at?
Orpheum downtown, right across from the Skyway.
no way. At
Oh,
the
yeah,
Orpheum
yeah.
in
Nice.
'91.
I remember
Oh.
that.
Season of the Abyss tour.
How old were you?
What was what
14.
was practice what you
Yeah,
preach? No, what was the
Souls of Black.
Souls of Black? That's what it was.
Yep.
14. That's
Yep.
that's you have awesome parents. You
Yes,
have
I
awesome
did.
parents. Well, you definitely stuff at 10, but
Yeah.
going to a show at 15 was awesome
14,
too.
yeah, 14.
Nice.
91,
Wow, that's
yeah.
cool.
And then my next show was that same year was First Avenue, all ages, Necromus, Cathedral, Carcass, and Napalm Death.
Jesus, what a
That was that-
wild
that was-
fucking.
that was-
show.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
that's that right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's
Pitch
the pitch shifter.
Oh no,
Oh,
I
Pitch
seen you at that
Shifter,
show
okay.
too. That was at the
Varsity.
Varsity. Yeah,
Oh, is that what?
Oh,
it
that
used
was
to
a
be called?
Mirage. I'm sorry.
that one's the Mirage.
Yep.
Yeah, but I seen you guys at First Avenue. I think the first.
Wild.
I think, but yeah,
That's awesome. Nice. Yourself.
That's one of the that's one of my prized possessions right there. That fucking Carcass. So I never owned that ticket stub. There's one guy that came to a show one time in the 2000s at some point, and he came out and he pulled his wallet out and he goes, "Dude, you're never gonna believe this." And he pulls the ticket out and he slaps it down on the bar at Ryan's, and I was just like, holy fuck, where did you get that? And he literally took a picture of it and sent it to me.
That's
He's
sweet.
like, just so you know, I have this for you, So I made a picture of it and put it on the wall, man. It's like one of my claims to fucking ever open for anybody cool. Fucking Carcass. That was
pretty badass.
one of the best.
Interesting.
What was your first concert?
Yeah,
My
what-
first concert,
You ever attended? Yeah.
Dawkin, under lock and key.
Dawkin.
River-
Wow.
Riverfest. Riverfest. I saw him, and then it was like Cool and the Gang. I got to see them. I got to
Yes.
see,
Sweet,
dude, a shit. It was all at Riverfest back
Yep.
in the day. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
Fuck.
See him at Riverfest, dude.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick. But not knowing that stuff, like standing there going, George Thorogood. I seen that when I was a kid.
Well, we grew up with Summerfest in Milwaukee, so
Yeah, yeah.
I would see all sorts of
Yeah, and,
like
and
that kind of
that's
stuff.
equivalent.
It
That's
just- it just
equivalent
goes
to
over your
that
head
one.
sometimes when
Yeah.
you're at a fest with 12 bands
Yeah.
the same day. But yeah,
Yeah, and then my first heavy show was Overkill, Slayer, and Motorhead. That was at First Avenue, and I was it was like 87, something like that.
Jesus.
I was a fucking
I wasn't
kid,
born yet.
and I went in that show on
Dustin's a baby in there.
Just-
2
tiny
hits
kid.
of acid, just freaking the hell out. Just now,
What's-
check
what's
this out.
acid?
Now you've been to First Avenue.
Yeah.
You know when you walk up that first ramp and you kind of come around, there's the bar that's right there in front of the stage, right? So every show they've done, it's that soundboard is right on the floor right there. For Slayer, they moved that soundboard right up against that fucking bar, okay? So they come out, and you could still smoke in the bar, so there were ashtrays everywhere. And when they came out, I was full on peak, dude, and it was, you know what I mean? And the fucking ashtrays were jumping and moving across the shit, and I'm like hallucinating, and I'm looking, and it's going, and the red, and and dude, people are diving off the fucking,
Oh, yeah.
off the top rope, dude. They're
Right.
going into the crowd.
That's
I was like,
amazing.
I was a kid going like that, and then it
Wild.
was, dude, you set my ass on fire from that point on because it was a goal every single time I went to the record store to find something cool to go to my friends and go, dude, have you heard this yet? And they go, no, what's that? And you know what I mean? And then it was on. I mean, Devastation, Forced Entry, Midas Touch, Sodom, Creator, fucking The First Deicide, Pestilence, Obituary, dude, Napalm Death. I mean, all of those bands were ones that I was like, you guys ever heard this? You guys ever heard this? And now it's like all those dudes are coming back going, but have you heard this? Have you heard this? You know, even there, a guy I haven't talked to in years, I'm like, have you heard anything new? He's like, nah, man, I'm still listening to Grave, Unleashed, Bolt Thrower, Napalm Death, Carcass, fucking Deicide, you know, Morbid Angel, all those things we listened to as kids. And I go, dude, Gate Creeper, have you heard of that? Have you heard any fucking Skeletal Remains, Vitriol, like all these bands? And I'm throwing them to him. He's going, nope.
I know.
And I stopped and I go, in the last few years, dude, Bloodbath, Nightmares Made for Flesh, from front to back, I'm like, it is the quintessential death metal album that him and I, when we grew up, I'm like, you take this album, you put it in the thing and play it all the way through. I'm waiting for him to fucking call me up and go, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did with Nate. Nate was like, oh, I've never heard that shit before. And I played Eaton for him, and he sat outside my car and he just went, really? What's the name of this album? And I gave it to him, and he came back like 3 days later at work, and he's like, dude, holy shit. One of my favorite fucking albums of all time.
That's great. I don't know. That's awesome.
Death metal talk. Yeah.
I wanted to say Chelsea said that one of her favorite bands that you guys have ever hosted is Reaping Asmodea and Thunder Goat.
Yes.
Shout out to those guys.
Thunder Goat's awesome. Hi, Chelsea.
I'm sorry it took so long to get to that
Dude,
message.
We love both of them.
When you're
Thunder
in the middle
Thunder Goat's one of the best. Yeah.
of a good conversation,
So
it's difficult.
We like a little stoner metal in there.
Yeah.
It's something about that low tempo stoner metal. I like it too. Yeah.
Thunder Goat, local Toma, Wisconsin folks too, so we like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great shit.
Sorry,
we love
my
it.
friends are talking. My friends are talking about the Acid Bath show. They said they spent 40 minutes in the merch line.
Oh, where are they playing tonight?
They're in New Orleans.
New Orleans too.
Well,
at
and
the
Dustyn's
Fillmore.
like, I'm seeing Acid Bath.
I am Chicago.
He's like, you know there? I'm like, I do. He's like, why? I'm like, because my algorithm on Facebook.
Facebook says,
all,
welcome.
It's all death metal stuff
Welcome.
now. So
Yeah,
never heard them, but I know of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty
I
cool.
went to, that's my Hattiesburg flyer right there. Dax, I got the Dax signature on
beautiful.
that one, the Dead Boy and the Elephant one. And then there's Sammy right there with Josh Kellerman.
Oh yeah,
Right there.
Look at Josh.
And
Guy.
the last time that we saw that I saw Sammy when they played with the Acid Bath cover band in Sioux Falls, I got to sit with them and go, dude, I don't think you remember who I am or not, you know, because we played the main stage at the Quest and they played the Goat Horde played the small stage in the Ascot room, and
I've heard
it was the first time meeting Sammy after getting into Acid Bath, and I was just begging him to come and do the cover song of Cheap Vodka that we did, my band at the time. So didn't get him to come up there, but it was cool to hang out with him. And then we played the Metal Fest with him in 2004 and sat and drank with him and hung out with him. And dude, I was in the fucking room with him talking to him. He signed my fucking Acid Bath things, and he never met me before. Hey man, you know, sign my shit. And then when I talked to him, he's like, "Oh my god, dude, I totally remember that shit."
Yeah.
It's just, you know,
Yeah,
I mean, he probably meets millions of motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah.
you know?
that's why metal's fun.
Yeah, well, that was like a signing kind of type deal though too.
Yeah.
Going through that,
Yeah.
so he's probably just
Yep.
that
Yeah, for sure.
different environment.
Yeah,
side of
for
it.
sure. And all the cool shit that he told us about all of the gear. And the one thing that I was complaining about that he knew about the whole Acid Bath thing, and he didn't even slip it to us, just, you know, as super fans and
Yep,
shit.
yep.
And here's what's funny, is that we're in fucking Sioux Falls, right? And they're playing, and Mike comes up for this thing, and they're doing all that Acid Bath shit, right? And this chick from New Orleans comes up, and Mike's wife sees her, and they're like, "Oh, hey, girl, what's going on? Like, how'd you hear about it?" And she goes, "Well, you know, Sammy doesn't keep his mouth shut." I'm like, "Fuck! Why didn't you tell us?" Like, these people, you know what I mean? Like, they must have knew him a bit more than us. But
Oh yeah,
it's just kind of,
yep. It's been planned for a while, I'm sure.
yeah.
Something like
It's just
that.
a trip, man.
Yep.
So cool to see them doing their thing, though. You know what I mean?
It's wild.
Like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you had a chance to listen to those guys?
I think we're gonna listen to.
We
it
should
on the way. On the way. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we will.
I was just gonna ask
Which
what
one are you
genre
gonna
music,
do?
but we're going to hopefully
We'll
Lot
blast
of Spring
through.
coming after this. to
Yeah,
sing
we'll go see some old
before-
metal after this.
All right.
Yeah, so
I
we'll
won't
listen to
keep-
Acid Bath.
Yeah, he's gonna
or-
kick us
no,
out of here now. We've been here. We've been chatting too long.
But we should listen to that on the way. I'm going to make you listen to some bluegrass.
Okay, that's fine.
No, I don't have a time frame, but I know that you guys want to get and see some
whatever.
other stuff and have a couple more beers, so I won't keep you too much longer. We do have a couple more songs.
Yeah, please do.
We could do that, and that would be pretty much it if you guys want.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about these shows one more time. Let me pull these up real quick. We've got the 23rd, which is at Zymurgy, right? And that is the Towering Abomination, Swarm, and Dead Soul Symphony. That is 18 plus, correct?
Yep.
Yes, yep.
And what is it at the door and stuff?
$10.
$10. And then we have the June 8th, which is at the Mabel.
Yep.
7 p.m. Doors on that one. What's the lineup of that again?
That is Infury, Vitriol, Demon King, Grey Lotus, and Caustic Abyss. I think that's 20-ish bucks, between 20 and 25. Get your tickets at the Mabel.
And that's at the awesome
Beautiful.
Awesome.
theater.
It's a Sunday. We are well aware, but
Just do it.
just come and enjoy the Mabel Tainer.
Support local.
Support local theater and come and support a nonprofit while you're listening to some metal.
Hell yeah, absolutely, man. Give some love, and then you have the big fest in August.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm flipping here.
No, you're okay. It's August 15th, 16th. Tickets are on sale now. They're $30. We wanted to pretty much keep it the cheapest fest you could go to this summer. I know ticket prices are going up amongst all the fests because they're just everything's more expensive.
Yeah.
We are learning it as we go. We're $30 pre-sale for 14 bands in 2 nights. I mean, I don't think you're going to, it's killer.
Plus a room full of killer beer.
Yeah. So, I mean, we really were focused.
Single day passes and stuff.
Yeah. Single day you can, if you come Friday or Saturday, that's cool. We do have those on sale too, but right now it's $30 for both days. And we're just kind of trying to keep it cheap for folks. We really are.
It's a good vibe. That's when, we do 5, 6, 7 shows a year, and that's
the best one to go to. And I think, I don't know, but I think Greg's going to be there doing some stuff. So that's our hope.
Well, now here's the thing: is I really want to be able to do this.
You're hoping so. Fingers crossed.
Now
Do you have to edit this out? Do you have to cut this out just in case?
No. I want to commit to this because I've actually wanted to use these cameras in a situation where I'm just editing and kind of going with it.
Yeah.
And if we could get a live stream, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
100%.
Now, how is your guys' Wi-Fi there?
It's good. We have it's good. I don't know anything about computers, but
Okay.
you could get on our good Wi-Fi.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
But yeah, we can dedicate something to you.
Yeah, cool. That would
I
be
think
really
that'd be
fun.
awesome because we've never had the chance to do it. We've always thought about doing it, but
Yeah, we've said it every year about getting
when we're
decent
doing everything else.
footage. We never
it's
do
Now,
it.
like someone has
would
to-
you guys be opposed to if I wanted to bring more lights or anything like that to be able to
not at
to
all.
shine
Dude,
a bit more?
dude,
And
And
we talked about that before
Welcome
because
to
a
us.
lot
We
of
don't
metal,
care.
A lot of metal bands like to keep it, dark. But
Yeah.
if you tell them, the preface of like, hey man, we want to be able to do a live stream or do something cool for
They
them.
won't care.
And I've got a couple different angles. It'd be cool to.
And in all
We're-
honesty,
we're-
we're in
yeah,
August in Menomonie, and we only play. We like having early shows.
Okay.
We are not that crew that like to stay up till 1 a.m.
Sure.
We are not.
I would
If
say,
our
yeah,
shows can be done by 11:30, we are on the spot. So I mean, we're light out because of the garage doors of Zymurgy
Yeah.
till 9.
the last two,
So,
last
maybe the
two
last
or three-
band-
the
two
last
bands.
would be dark anyway. So yeah,
Okay.
but
So you're
we're
having
al-
light
we're
the
always
rest of
down
them.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
That
that's
seems
something we
easy.
thought especially with sound,
Yeah.
we've never been able to, besides just take pictures
Yeah.
and do short videos. Like it would be cool. Like we would always like to see just documentation of
Yeah.
it too, because you can look back on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're more than welcome, man.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Dude, you're
I
able
can
to do
I
whatever
can
you wanna
really
do.
I can really move the podcast stuff wherever I want. Really.
And we
Yeah.
can make that happen too.
And we've had Vulgar Display Podcast do a podcast in our office. with
Yeah,
that
I
2
told
years
them that.
ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
and
That
you're
was
always-
they're out of
It's
St.
a
Louis.
lot of work, but
They
you're
were
always
good.
you're always welcome. Our
Awesome.
Our home
Yeah.
is your home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we could I could work with some of the bands and make sure they come and chat with you, and we make it happen. It'd
I'll
be
have to
super fun.
figure it out because I did talk to Jordan just because he's really good with the sound stuff and he's actually going to be out of town. So I'll have to figure out exactly how it will work. I do need to make a trip over there. I'll probably try to do the 23rd to come and kind of look at everything.
Yeah, you should.
Plus I want to see a Towering Abomination. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
good
I'm
album, by
cool
the
with
way.
that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're always welcome, man. Just
Yeah.
let us know.
Now, how can people get a hold of you guys if they want to try to get booked at your guys' spot? How can they can just come and drink beers? They
Yeah.
can do,
Dustyn's phone number is
yeah, pretty much. So we don't like have an agency or something. So pretty much if you're somebody who just wants to come watch a show, Zymurgy Brewing Company on Facebook, Zymurgy Brew Co.
if we sell tickets online, it's through volume1.
Yep, that's I'll be Zymurderfest.
Otherwise, it's all tickets at the door. Facebook Messenger and Instagram are kind of how you hit us up, or you just go to our web page and email us is kind of the best.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's for sure. And we do have a Facebook page. It's open to anybody. It's Zymurgy, I think, like all things metal, something like that. That's where you can kind of follow everything we do. We'll post fest stuff. We'll post podcast stuff. We let other fests that we work with and bands that we work with post in there. Pretty much, if you have a connection with us, we will support you in that group. That's the point.
Best
it's
way
not,
is to stop
it's not
very
just
personal.
it's kind of like how Natalie does a great job with Midwest metal
work. She's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
she's awesome. And so we've kind of taken her role of like, it's not just about us, it's about everybody else. So if Glutton for Punishment comes out with new music, we're going to post their new music because they've worked with us before. So we really try to do that. But yeah, pretty much if you're a band listening and you would love to come play the brewery, I'm Dustyn Dubuque. You can find me on Facebook. Go through Zymurgy. They'll always send you to me. We don't have an official company because we don't care enough.
You can find us.
Find us on, Facebook.
Again, we're having fun. So
We're
if you want to
having
play,
that sounds like too much work to have an official thing. So let's just have some. Let's just have a good time.
Hell
yeah.
Facebook official is all you need.
That's it.
Now, Rob, what do you got coming up? You got anything? In the works right now? I know you guys got some festivals running here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I mean Glutton's doing the NYDM annual in August, and then
In Chicago?
in Chicago, and then we're doing Slam Dakota, and then
Sioux Falls.
Yep, which is Slam Dakota, and then July 19th there's a fest that Josh Kellerman put together. I'll be playing that.
Is that the Palmer's one or
no? Eagles 34, I think.
Okay.
The VFW that's got 2 stages. There's gonna be like 20 bands on that thing, so I haven't gotten all the details or flyer for that. But Die Hardcore's gonna be playing that too. Other than that, it's gonna be pretty quiet because Glutton's writing right now. So
yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like everybody's writing right now.
Well, they've got the whole Iron Maiden thing going on too. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Wait, what?
So Aaron Whitesides, when Nate took his little vacation, hiatus. Whitesides filled in for us on the Brian Owens Celebration of Life.
Oh yeah.
And everybody was open to Aaron coming back and doing the Iron Maiden thing, 3 guitars. So we're gonna see how that goes. It'll be interesting.
Awesome.
July
That's some
9th.
heavy shit right there.
That's wild.
Yeah, so it'll be me, Aaron, and Nate on guitar. So and we all do something a little different. I'm definitely more the meat rhythm part.
Yeah,
Nate does the shreddy solos, and then Whitesides with the harmonies. We're excited to see how it sounds.
And the
live.
backup too.
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
That's fantastic, man.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Dude,
Well, thanks for co-hosting,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for inviting
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate for
I
everything here, dude. I appreciate it, bro.
Say no to that.
And guys, huge, man. Thank you very much for coming and doing this.
Yeah, thanks.
Very, very cool.
Our pleasure, man. Yeah,
this is what it's all about, though, man. You know, like you said, having fun with it, being good to people. You know, enjoying the beers, enjoying the music. You know, making it fun, keeping it fun. That's the best way to do it.
It is number one. It's number one. Have a good time with it, man.
Now you said how many years have you been doing this?
We're on 6.
That's
6.
killer. Dude.
We've been open for 6.5. Been doing metal for 6. Yeah.
That's killer, man. Very, very
and the
cool.
vibe is great. Death metal fans are awesome. It's wild, man. I love it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. So we've got 2 more songs left. We got some Morta Skuld, and we're gonna do Caustic Abyss on the end of there. So yeah, thank you guys for coming in. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Chelsea, thanks for jumping in here. Craig Rosensbeard, thank you very much. Jess Carlson, thank you very much for jumping in as well. Always a pleasure to have folks in the chat chatting with us and talking and adding to the show. So thank you very much. We are going to play some tunes and get the hell out of here.
Thanks for having us. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Yay.
Thanks.
I'm going to try to, I think I have something set up here, don't I?
Is it bluegrass?
Is it bluegrass?
It
Is it Yonder Mountain?
It should be. We're going to do some more to Skuld. We'll take a listen. Thank you very much. You guys have a good night. Come check us out again. Ritual Madness Podcast. Like and subscribe. Peace out.
Much love.
Keep your headphones on.
the scars I won't forget.